Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to all of those of you who are watching along on the live stream here at Buckmore Park in the Garden of England. It is a gorgeous sunny afternoon here as we get ourselves ready for the inaugural Buckmore Park Kart Fight here on a very prestigious evening. And it's going to be a very entertaining night's action of endurance karting that we have in front of us. Jake Sanson here, broadcasting as we are through the Alpha Live Facebook and YouTube streams, as well as on the Karting Magazine and Downforce UK Facebook streams as well. Wherever you may be watching, do send us some messages and some chatter, and we'll try and get your messages read out over the course of the stream as much as we possibly can. It's going to be a very busy evening's karting. Massive thank you, by the way, to some football players out in Russia who have decimated our field somewhat. No idea why it's relevant, but obviously the teams that are still here are going to be bidding to become the first Buckmore Park Kart Fight champions, and it's going to be a very entertaining event because we're basically running a 2-hour endurance race once qualifying has got underway. For each team, it is a mandatory 3 pit stops, and of course during the race there is also a refueling pit stop. So it's all about team strategy and tactics as we go through the course of the day. And we have teams from up and down the length and breadth of business and commerce. It is Go Compare who have entered 2 teams into the mix here today. A lot of people expecting them to put on a very good show, including the fact that they have brought along with them a proper racing driver, Miles Cook, who competes in the Production BMW Championship. There's also a chap basically Go Compare has a lot of people from all over the various different parts of their country, most of them of course coming from their Welsh bases. So we have Kieran Russ from Cardiff, we have Miles Cook of course who is from Cwmbran, we have Tim Clark as well who is from Abertillery, and then various other members of the Go Compare squad from all over. The Flycom team have come to us all the way from France with Clémenie David, Camille Doimel, Quentin Coiffeur and Paul Florian. Great to see them here as they've travelled quite a long way to compete in this inaugural Kart Fight event, but this is a team that is always up for a bit of a scrap. They want to put on a good show and they want to take the victory here. No surprises at all as they have travelled from various parts of France, from Amogen, from Rouen and from Strasbourg. So it's going to be a very interesting battle for them all. Another team they've got to compete against here tonight is the Mixed Bag, with Alex Williams, who is known for his classic car racing, and then his teammates Ollie Flanagan, Chris Davies and Jim Garvey. The Piston Broke team, just 3 drivers on this particular squad, with Will Noy, who has basically had an incredibly good racing career on the likes of Mario Kart and Crash Tag Team Racing. Those are for the gaming nerds who will know, of course, those particular titles. Tom Scott and Will Pipe will be teammates as well on that particular squad. Then we have the Chargemaster team with very limited experience in terms of their racing prowess beforehand, but what they lack in experience they more than make up for in determination and enthusiasm. Simon and Cameron Lane with Will Fowler and Ollie Upton on the squad as well. Then 2 teams have come to us from the Ice Brigade. Sash Kukardi, Rich Martell, Peter Nixie and Ayamun is in there as well. In fact, Rich Martell is the Shillington Lower EGG, sorry, I was going for an abbreviation there, but basically Rich Martell has told us that his racing experience has been quite exemplary as he is the Shillington Lower Egg and Spoon champion. Well, that will definitely help him in Kart Fight this afternoon. He's going to have an awful lot of good fun. Then we have the Contour Brigade, which has Roger Holmes, Martin Gibbs, George Bonnet, and those who are racing fans will of course know the name of James Townsend, who currently races in the Ginetta GT5 Challenge, racing as he does for the Fox Motorsport team. So he's going to be an interesting one to keep an eye on, as is the entire team of course. And then we have the squad from Curve with their drivers Chihan Sen, Paulo Denis Gouveia Ladrera, Diego Rivas and Arthur Leung. So that's going to be a really interesting challenge. All of the teams are getting themselves ready and prepared for the qualifying session here, which will be half an hour in length before we get ourselves underway for 2 hours around the Buckmore Park circuit. Amazing facility, as you can see from the stream. Still wonderful to see all of the bits and pieces that are going on at Buckmore Park, and still the legacy of the late great John Surtees very much evident around this fantastic circuit in the Garden of England. The amazing work that has been put in to make this facility a talent hotbed of British karting, not just for youngsters but also for new adult racing talent coming through. It is an amazing facility. You can see, obviously, for those who haven't watched racing at Buckmore Park of late, and have looked at it and seen that there's an awful lot of incredible detail to one of the curbing section. I have it on report that the changes and the additions in terms of barriers and the painted curbs around the circuit are very new to the facility, and they actually employed the same person who sorted out the painted curbs and barriers facilities for the Circuit of the Americas out in Austin in Texas, which is used of course for various different forms of motor racing, including Formula One, MotoGP and the World Endurance Championship. Hence why this circuit looks as it is, an absolutely fantastic facility, great motor racing continuous all the way through this Buckmore Park facility. It's great to see all of the drivers and teams getting themselves ready for the action, and having been a regular attendee to Buckmore Park over the last 5 years, I can tell you from experience that it always generates a great buzz of intensity and excitement. So we're going to have the 11 teams that remain with us who decided that football is a dull and boring exercise to continue on with us here at Kart Fight. It's going to be a spectacular race, and we're going to have some great banter as much as we are going to have some great motorsport in action, exactly the way it should be. You know, motor racing is not just a world championship exploit, it is also something for people to get involved with for the first time. And that is basically and effectively what Kart Fight is, an opportunity for people from all different forms of commerce and business to give this a go and see if they can take the crown. Unfortunate that our original entry list had a good 20 to 30 teams involved in it, but seeing as how some chap called Harry Kane has been leading a few lads in Russia to some kind of exploit, not entirely sure what they're on about to be honest, but apparently they're doing rather well, and as a result of that quite a few of our teams want to see how well they do this evening against some team from Eastern Europe. So other than that, we're going to have some pretty exciting racing here. 2 hours, of course, in the endurance battle, and we'll get to see some pretty exciting racing from the drivers. The qualifying session is about to get underway, with drivers obviously now making their way to their karts once they have selected which driver is going to be competing in the qualifying session. Of course, it runs very similar to various other disciplines of endurance karting. The drivers will go out, set a qualifying lap, and whoever basically sets the fastest lap from their particular team, that team's fastest time will put them on the grid in a particular order. So that means that whichever team is fastest in qualifying, they will start from the front of the grid, and whichever team takes up resident position 11th on the grid will end up starting from P11. So the drivers are obviously now in position to basically get the qualifying session underway. It will not be too long before we start the action, but here at Kart Fight, it is obviously going to be a very busy race with 2 hours of endurance competition. They've been testing for a short while here already to get a feel for the circuit, and it is, of course, one of the most physical challenges in British karting. The Buckmore Park circuit is, I've always liked to call it and describe it as the Spa-Francorchamps of British karting. It's very technical, very twisty. That drop out of turn 6 down through the right-hander is very Eau Rouge-esque, and the drivers will obviously get a very physical pounding over the course of proceedings. I've actually driven only 4 laps of this Buckmore Park circuit during a Biralat UK Series weekend during last year, when I happened to take up the position in the karts in a 125cc senior kart, and I tell you, I took an amazing physical punishment, hence why I only did 4 laps around the circuit. It's a very tough circuit, very, very difficult for drivers who are not used to it to get themselves up to speed, so there's definitely going to be an awful lot of hard work for the drivers out there today. Looks like the team that's going to lead them out of the pits is going to be the Charge Master squad, card number 8. So they will head out onto the circuit first, but of course that doesn't dictate that they will start the race from pole position. It's got to be done through the qualifying session to see who is going to be in a strong position for the start of this race. So it's not going to be too long now before the drivers get sent out onto their qualifying laps, and they will negotiate some of the toughest corners in British karting. The sun is just coming in now up over the top of the trees, so there will be some sections of the circuit which will be just about well lit. They'll be in the nice part of the shade on that far side of the circuit. But as we're getting into the dawn, you can already see there on the stream, there are some parts of the circuit where the sun is going to be blinding, and particularly as they come up Damon Hill onto that start-finish straight once again, the drivers could end up finding that they're actually blinded a little by the sun as they come up and over the crest. Now that's going to be a difficult difficulty for a lot of the drivers who are not used to this kind of punishment. And they're obviously going to have to be very, very careful, very tactical about how they go about things. This is going to be a very tough exercise for the inexperienced, and they're going to have to learn by doing effectively. So how on earth we're going to figure out which team is going to come through, especially with those who have racing experience mingled with those who are just starting out and putting their racing shoes on for the very first time, well, that's going to be a very interesting knife edge for the drivers to have to cope with. I hope they're able to be. I hope they're basically able to butter their bread and then eat it out there, because it will be a very difficult day at the office. But they're going to have 2 hours of no-holds-barred racing. The tension's going to be palpable in the pits as well as they try and schedule when they're going to make their pit stops. A mandatory 3 pit stops per team is required from each of the squads, with the second of those, of course, being a fuel stop at the halfway point during the race. The timing of it is pretty much up to the teams, but they have to have an absolute minimum mandatory 3 pit stops during the course of the race. Now, that is also including some of those who only have 3 drivers in their team. Most of them have 4 drivers in their team, but if there are any squads that have 3, then they're going to have to try and figure out who is going to do a double stint in their squad. Now, that is obviously a difficult one to call strategically. But as the drivers head out onto the circuit now, the teams are in the early phase of the Kart Fight Buckmore Park qualifying session. So now it's time to get this qualifying underway, and we'll figure out who is going to have the fastest times. Obviously, as the drivers start to set times, basically their first few laps will come up on the screen, and we will get an idea as to who is positioned where in the early phase of this endurance event. Getting into the dust now as the drivers are out there for their first time laps, and they drop down the hill up into that sweeping section of the course. So this 2-hour event is obviously going to be a very difficult one for the drivers to negotiate. They're going to have a lot of hard work in front of them. But as you can see, this is a very physical race circuit, a very beautiful, very picturesque part of Kent this, and great to see all of the circuit looking pristine and perfect as it always does. But the drivers will definitely be having to work very hard around this Buckmore Park circuit as the drivers try and negotiate the fastest parts of the circuit through this qualifying session. So it's a very tricky circuit this. They've just gone through Henry's Bend there, the second corner. Double apex right-hander begins the lap. Let's ride and have a look on this circuit with the Piston Broke squad, the number 5, going through that double right-hander as they come through to the far side, and then they will negotiate the first of 2 twisting hairpins into the right, and then they will come down that short stretch. In fact, a yellow flag there, because I think the Piston Broke card might have actually spun a little bit. It does, but manages to get going again. Oh, what an embarrassing way to start their qualifying session. Into the left-hander and back onto the power, staying well off the curbs for this lap, but then they throw it through the left-hander, flat on the throttle if you're brave enough, and then you come back through that sweeping part of the course, down the drop, in through that long sweeping S's, and you get yourself ready and set up then for this climb up to Garda. It's plenty of curb on the way in, and then lining up the car to get on the way out, through the hairpin, and then down through that left kink, and up Damon Hill to finish off the lap. A really exciting circuit this, and always very, very exciting to see the drivers up there. The mixed bag have already set the benchmark with a 51.424. That is 0.22 seconds ahead of the first of the ICE squads. Denoted the difference between those two by the difference between the 1 squad and the 2 squad, although they are in carts number 6 and 7. They're actually out on the circuit together at the moment as the mixed bag decides to throw it up the inside of one of the ICE squads on what must be a flying lap. So the mixed bag are leading the way at the moment from ICE 1 and ICE 2. Then we have the Contour squad in 4th position at present. 5th is the Chargemaster team. And then in 6th place, that looks to me like Ben Root, who are there, sorry. So the Ben Rutt team are there in 6th position. Then in 3rd is the Flycom operation. And, well, it was. And now straight up to the top has come the Contour team, who are 0.1 of a second now faster than the mixed bag. So their man has clearly gone a little bit quicker in that particular lap time. So the drivers continuing to push on very hard indeed as they come around the circuit, but the Contour squad has taken an early lead from on a 51.321 lap time. A very good start to proceedings. The mixed bag in 2nd from ICE 1 and ICE 2. Then, of course, Chargemaster, and up to 6th position has come Piston Broke. with a time 1.8 seconds off the pole. Ben Rutt is there in 7th place. Ben Rutt. Then we have Go Compare, number 1. The 9th team in the mix is Flycom from France. And then we have Go Compare's second squad in 10th position in front of Team Curve, who have yet to set a flying lap. We've got yellow flags down at the bottom end of the circuit. Not entirely sure who it is going to be in their squad at the moment. I can tell you for the drivers are going to be updating through the course of proceedings which drivers are in which teams through the course of the event. In the ice kart, I can tell you that the number 6 kart is currently being driven by Rich Martel, who is, of course, the Rich Martel who does get involved in an awful lot of Buckmore Park's events, so he knows this racetrack very well. But the sister car, the Ice 2 squad, is being driven at the moment by Sash Kukadia, and looks like a bit of a spin there during that particular element of qualifying. 26.5 minutes or so of the qualifying session remaining, of course, and that means that the drivers are going to have to put on some very interesting laps. Now, what we have to remind ourselves, of course, during this half-hour qualifying session is that all of the drivers have to be out on the circuit at some point during qualifying. So what we should see is, as the qualifying progresses in this 26 minutes remaining of the session, we should get quite a decent spread between the drivers, but I don't think the gap is going to be particularly big by the time we get to the end of qualifying, because obviously all of the drivers within each squad are going to get a turn behind the wheel. So I think that that gap, which is currently at 10.2 seconds between the leading ICE team squad with Rich Martel at the wheel, I don't think that gap is going to be 10.2 seconds to the back by the time we finish qualifying. It's obviously going to continue on as the battle progresses, but there's going to be an awful lot of things happening before we get to that stage. Now, we've also had a few confirmations of other drivers that are in their karts. Will Fowler is in the Chargemaster kart at the moment. In the 11 kart, trying to get up to speed at this present moment in time. That looks to me to be the, I think that's Paolo in the kart at the moment. Paolo Diniz Gouveia Laderia. So he's in the kart at the moment, the number 11 machine. Then we have Jim Smith, who is in the Go Compare 2 squad at this present moment in time. And then Ollie Flanagan is the man who's currently gone 50.826 out there on the circuit to put the mixed bag back into first position. There's the 6. That is the leading ice kart, driven, of course, by Rich Martel at the moment. Whoa, a bit leery from Ollie Flanagan, who's pushing very hard there for the mixed bag. No surprises. He wants pole position, and he's trying his best to find the fastest lines around this circuit to come through. He comes up Damon Hill, flat through the left sweep, and over the line. And can they improve on a 50.826? The answer is not at this moment. So I think a couple of mistakes on that last flying lap have definitely impeded that particular run. But there's still quite a long way to go in this qualifying session. So the mixed bag are leading the way with 24 minutes and 25 to go on the clock in this inaugural Buckmore Park Kart Fight Enduro, which is hopefully going to become an annual event, which will see a lot of drivers and teams from all over competing. Unfortunately, our field is rather depleted this evening, as we have mentioned before, for those just joining us on the stream, by some team in Russia full of English lads doing a rather good job. We won't, of course, spoil any parties for anybody, but we've got a great team of racers who are here who are going to be battling away. Some of them who have racing experience in the past, of course. Others, of course, are just from the world of commerce and want to prove that they have what it takes to win at the top level of motorsport. And this is not a bad way to get started, with the Buckmore Park circuit putting on a fantastic show for all of the competitors involved. Just to go through the teams once more for those who are just joining us, we have several teams from various different disciplines. Go Compare have actually sent 2 teams to this particular event, and in the first team we are told that the drivers involved, we've got 1 team of 4 and 1 team of 5, I am told, in terms of teams. I think the Go Compare squad currently has Owen Sparrow, James Smith, Liam Roberts and Miles Cook in one particular team, and then I think the other team is made up of Tim Clark, Kieran Russ, Lewis Miller, Luis Aguirre and Hyers Rees. So I think that is who we have, but obviously if that is any different, if there is 5 in the first team rather than 4 in the first team and we'll swap it over, then I'm sure somebody's going to inform me of the difference in teams. In the Flycom squad, they have come all the way from France to compete in this, so great to see that they're very competitive and up there in the midfield, as we have our pit cam there just watching the drivers having their scheduled driver changes. Now, who is it that we actually have down there in the pits changing over? That looks like the ice team that are making a change. So that is obviously going to be Rich Martell, formerly in the kart, and now Rich Martell is getting out to change drivers. We'll find out who that is very shortly indeed, hopefully. So the mixed bag is still the fastest team out there. There is the Ben Rutt team, number 10, as they continue to pound laps around the circuit. Their fastest time is currently 1.8 seconds off the top time of the mixed bag. As they come around the next few parts of the course, Ben Rutt just dropping down through that very fast right-left kink in the middle of the circuit. So we've got the ice carts out there together at the moment. Oh, sorry, the Go Compare 2 squad and the Flycom squad are out there together at the moment, pounding laps. There's the leaders in qualifying at the moment, the mixed bag team, number 4. So they are there in position at the moment. And it's going to be a very interesting battle to see if they can hang on to this. They have a quarter of a second's advantage on Team Contour, who are in in the number 9 kart, I should say, in second position. Just a couple of hundredths of a second ahead of the first of the ice squads. Their sister kart is in 4th position at the moment, 0.303 down. Then we have the Chargemaster team in 5th position with Will Fowler in the kart at the last check. And up to 6th position has come the Piston Broke team in 6th position. They are just in the pits changing drivers at the moment. Of course, every team has got to change drivers. And as I mentioned before, I think the gap is going to come down from the front of the grid to the back, and it has done by 4 seconds. So obviously, as different drivers get into those karts and the qualifying session continues, you're obviously going to get different spreads of drivers and different skill levels. But obviously, it's all about the great spread of driving talent around the circuit. And obviously there are some drivers who are doing this for the first time, others who have done it before, but that doesn't change the fact that this 1,000 metre circuit, Buckmore Park, is going to provide a lot of challenges for the drivers in each of the 11 teams here this evening. The mixed bag still leading the way. That is the Ben Rutt team, still in 7th position at the moment, trying to make up the 1.7 second deficit that they currently have. Good to see the Go Compare guys actually battling together on the circuit. And it's this kart, the number 10 Ben Rutt machine, that's actually closing in on them to try and increase their pace. Now, they're 1.7 down at this point. So let's see if they're going to get an improvement on this particular lap. So the Ben Rutt squad, kart number 10, and they are currently putting on a good show at the moment as they try to get their kart further up the race order. So they will come through at the end of the lap, and that has kept them in position. In fact, they've gone straight into the pits from that particular point. So I don't have any information in front of me in the regards to the Ben Rutt team drivers. They haven't informed me, certainly on the list of drivers I have in front of me, who is in that particular squad. I'm sure somebody can run those details and information up to me at some point as drivers are changing over and leaving the pits. There goes the number 10 out onto the squad again. That is the Ben Rutt team, so they've had a bit of a change, and now it's time to see who is out there on the circuit. They've had a few driver changes already, so it looks like Eamon is out on the Ice 2 squad now. So they've had a little bit of a driver change there, of course. So Eamon, that's the chap from Cardiff, is now out on the circuit in that particular kart. The 11 is out on circuit now. That's Curve, and it looks like Diego Rivas has now got into that particular kart. James Townsend has jumped into the Contour kart, so expect them to be right up near the front. In fact, they're only 0.265 seconds down, but James Townsend has great experience in the world of motor racing. In fact, the young man from Ipswich is obviously a Ginetta GT5 racer for Fox Motorsports, so expect him to be going near the front end as best as he possibly can. And of course, James Townsend describes his hero as himself, so always very, very good to see that they have decided to use someone with modesty. He's a very humble driver, is James Townsend. The mixed bag in first position. Up to second place has come the Flycom team, so the French Brigade have come through now into second position for the moment. The gap down to 0.18 between first and second. Contour are there in third place. The Ice squads are fourth and fifth. Then it is Chargemaster from Piston Broke, Ben Rutt, Go Compare 1, Curve, and Go Compare 2. That is the way things currently stand in proceedings. So Curves driver Diego Rivas is hoping to get a little bit more speed out of the kart during his qualifying run. Chris Davies has taken over possession of the mixed bag kart at the moment, kart number 4. That is the Flycom team with their driver currently going around. I'm not entirely sure who it is in that particular kart at the moment, but they do have 4 very talented French racers in that particular squad, namely David Clemeny, Camille Doimel, Quentin Coiffure and Florian Pauli. So good to see those drivers going out there to put on a good show, and great to see them here. So 17 minutes remain of this qualifying session in Buckmore Park Kart Fight, as the drivers are going to put on as much of an entertainment as they can over the course of the 2 hours. There's the mixed bag team. They are leading the way on a 50.650. Flycom have moved up into second place, the French team. So they are in the mix, putting on a great result, hopefully, if they can keep it in this current position. There is the number 3, Flycom, actually trying to gain those positions in that time, and they're pushing very hard indeed. You can see there as they flew through those first 2 corners into Henry's Bend, and now they come into the hairpins. Goodness me, that got very scary as Curve got sideways right in the way of the French contingent. So now they're coming through and trying to find a way through on that inside line. That's brave. Oh, goodness me, up on the curves. And as you can see, the Curve team are doing their best to provide a bit of a mobile roadblock, it would seem, as they come through that particular part of the course. So they've managed to get through without too much incident. But Flycom are definitely now the kart in front on the road. But that lap would have been impeded by that particular machine. So now they've got to make their way further forward. So the mixed bag is still the leading team on a 50.65. Then it's Flycom in second. The Contour team have just made a pit stop, so they're going to be changing drivers in the second half of this qualifying session. We've had the first half down, second half still to go. Plenty of time to change the starting grid for this 2-hour enduro then, as every driver in the teams have obviously got to get some lap times in their individual karts. So the men and women that we have here over the course of the race have obviously got to get some lap times in their karts during the qualifying session, and they will all have their set programs as to who's going out when during that qualifying session. But the rule remains statutory. Any driver that doesn't compete in the qualifying session for at least 1 flying lap will not be able to compete in the race itself. So you've got to make sure that you come in and change drivers before the end of the qualifying session. Everybody in each team has got to have a go before the race begins, which means that you've only got 15 minutes exactly, halfway point of the qualifying. So we've had 15 minutes, the other 15 minutes begin now. Into the pits to do their next driver change is the Flycom squad. So that is the team that is currently sat second in the timings. The number 10, that is the Ben Rutt squad, are still pushing around the circuit, and their deficit at the moment is only 0.6, so they're actually gaining a lot of time. 0.6 of a second is now the gap. So as the faster drivers in the team are starting to gain their opportune moments in the karts, the top 7 teams are only covered by 0.7 of a second. So it is going to be close in final qualifying. And to enhance the point, the gap has come down again from the front of the grid to the back. The gap is now just 5.7 seconds as the Go Compare 2 squad. There is the driver in question in the kart. It was Miles Cook in the kart, but I have a feeling they have changed drivers of late. So we'll double check on that one. But Miles Cook, of course, is one of the more experienced drivers in that particular team. Miles Cook, who races in the Production BMW Championship. His target here is not to finish last. And his claim to fame is that he once left the brakes off on a parked Apache helicopter. Fair enough. Braver you than me, mate. But I suppose everybody's got to be a bit of a daredevil at some point. So there is the 5. That is the Piston Broke team. Just pounding around the circuit. It's Tom Scott in the kart at the moment. So Tom Scott for Piston Broke is trying to get some lap times in there at the moment. And Tom Scott comes to us all the way from Fulham. His hero is Jenson Button, who he touched once, he tells me. That is just about the most dodgy thing you could ever have written on your commentary notes form. I'd like to think it was of a decent nature, but knowing Jenson Button and knowing the nature of the way that banter works in motor racing, I'm not going to declare anything I don't already know about. So the drivers are still getting themselves up to speed with 13 minutes left. 7/10 of a second from the front of the grid to 7th place, so it could still go anybody's way in the remaining minutes of this qualifying session, but the top 5 teams are covered by just 3/10 of a second, so all it's going to take is that one brilliant lap time from whichever team is able to go faster than 50.650. It will be tough, actually, in this new fleet of Arrive and Drive karts. It's great to see them out there. They've only just arrived at the circuit over the last couple of months, and it's great to see them in action. Now, the Go Compare 1 kart, which is number 1, is out there on the circuit. There's Miles Cook in the sister kart. So you'll see him around the circuit over the course of this race as well. The number 10 just going through there, the Ben Rutt team. I still don't have any information on their drivers, unfortunately. So we'll find out over the course of the 2 hours, I'm sure, as the drivers get themselves into the kart. I'm told it's Arthur who is currently in the kart at the moment. No, sorry, that's Arthur in the Curve team. My apologies. So basically they are swapping their drivers as they go. But it is Arthur Leung, who is in the kart at the moment, who basically is wanting England to win tonight, despite the fact that he's here putting some lap times in. Miles Cook is trying to let him go, apparently, and his claim to fame is that he races with a team of imposters. Imposters in what sense? And in what way of going about it? Oh, well, the Flycom team, the French brigade, have just spun in front of our camera position there on the second hairpin. So the number 6 kart at the moment, and for the ICE team, has Bambi in it at the moment. I'm guessing that is a nickname. So the drivers are currently pushing around the circuit as they continue in terms of their speed. And it's going to be really interesting to see how these guys continue to battle away. Running out of time, but now it's just 6/10 of a second between the top 7 teams. Oh, big tank slapper coming out of the left-hander before Damon Hill as they continue to charge their way through. There's the 3 Flycom teams still there in position in 2nd place, and we're still trying to see if there's any gains. Well, from the back of the grid to the front is now just 5 seconds, so 5 seconds is the gap, and it is coming down all the time as more drivers get their turn in the karts. Liam Roberts is currently in the number 1 kart for the Go Compare team. I think that's who we're looking at the moment, actually, as they come through. Another spin, and a car going in the other direction. Yes, it is the one that we're watching at the moment out on circuit. That is Liam Roberts, who's in that particular car from Bridgend. His target for the race is consistency. His hero is the Isle of Man TT legend John McGuinness. Well, I tell you what, that is not a bad choice. And considering how the Isle of Man TT has only concluded a few weeks ago, great to see that there is still a lot of love for that legendary motorcycle race, and very appropriately here at Buckmore Park, as it should be, because of course the late great John Surtees, very much a part of Buckmore Park's history and heritage, was a winner of the Isle of Man TT back in the glory days. So great to see that that resonance with the toughest motorcycle road race of them all is still relevant, and that's a spin from the Ice 2 squad, and that's taken another kart with it, because obviously they realised that they were spinning, and they slammed on the brakes to avoid contact. And ironically, it's the 2 ice karts that are spinning around sideways. There's a joke in there somewhere. I just don't have quite have the quick-witted nature to come up with it, but I'm sure someone will. But yes, both of the 2 ice karts spinning there, and yeah, I'm sure someone's got a good one-liner in their pocket for that one. No, so Go Compare 2's kart, driven by Miles Cook, now comes into the pits to change drivers. Chris Davies is currently the man in the mixed bag team, and there's a warning that's gone out for the number 6. I'm guessing for track limits, potentially, which is quite ironic because they did spin off the circuit in the course of that. There's Liam Roberts in the number 1, the Go Compare 1 squad. We were talking about Liam just a little while ago. So it's going to be interesting to see how this team gets on over the course of proceedings, because they've obviously got 2 squads for the Go Compare team. One of them is currently 2.3 seconds off the pole position. The other one is 5 seconds or so. But we talk about this need to be on pole position. Well, it's obviously a nice fillet, but it doesn't guarantee you're going to... Excuse me, it doesn't guarantee you're going to win the race in any means at all, because it's an endurance race, and every time you make a mistake, basically you cost your team time. And I have a feeling that all 11 teams are going to have difficulties through the course of the race. So it basically is going to come down to which team is the most consistent, the most smooth, the most calculated, the best on strategy. Everything has to work together. All of those little ingredients have to gel into one race performance, and it's very, very easy to make a mistake. It's very easy to lose ground. But what's difficult is making sure that all of those little things stay together in one fell swoop. So obviously everybody's got to work very hard together. Looks like our pit cam's picking up another pit stop. It's the Go Compare 1 kart that's changing drivers at the moment. So there's a few more drivers out there who have got into the kart. Alex Williams has just got into the mixed bag kart. So Alex Williams has taken over, the man from London. He's done quite a bit of classic car racing. He wants to beat James Townsend today. That's his target, apparently. So fair enough. We'll keep an eye on that little miniature battle. And his claim to fame, as a lot of people's here is, of course, is that they have met the legend John Surtees. I'm very proud to say that I've not only met him, but worked with him over the course of his final couple of seasons here at Buckmore Park. And what a pleasure and honour it was to do so. And I'm sure he's looking down on us and smiling at the fantastic nature of this Buckmore Park circuit being used exactly as he intended it to for great and no-holds-barred motor racing. There's the fastest team in qualifying at the moment with 7 minutes to go. The mixed bag with Alex Williams currently at the wheel, trying to get that lap time down from 50.650 seconds to get a little bit more speed out of the kart. And there's just that little tiny difference can make it all count as he pushes very hard down the hill through the right-hander and up towards Garda. Continuing on in fantastic fashion as he comes into the right-hander. He's carrying a lot of speed through there. Goodness me, he's chucking the kart in exactly where he needs to. And I would not be surprised at all if Alex Williams gets a faster lap time here. He comes up and over the final couple of corners and over the line. And what is that lap time? It's no better, actually, but it's about roughly where the kart should be. It's in the 50s. It's just no improvement on a 50.650. The Flacon team from France are still there in second place. Team Contour have come back into third position of late. The two ice karts are there in fourth and fifth positions, with their drivers still pounding away. Bambi appears to be in the kart at the moment for Team Ice. So I should say, but no, both of the Ice team karts are into the pits as two drivers jog over to the position to get their final driver change, I'm guessing. I would say it is final driver change because we've only got 5 minutes and 45 seconds left of the qualifying session. So the Ice team's karts are coming in together. Chargemaster are there in sixth place, and they're only 0.4 of a second off pole position, so they still could get there. Now the Go Compare team have put out one of their faster drivers as we get another pirouette just behind the number 1 kart. That team has brought their deficit down from 5 seconds off pole position to 2.8 off pole position. So they've managed to get the entirety of the gap from the front of the field to the back down to just 3.1 seconds. We did say that over the course of the qualifying session, the front of the grid to the back would tighten up big style, and it certainly has done over the course of the last 25 minutes. There's a little bit of time to change things up a little bit more. So we've got 11 teams in the mix, of course. The Ben Rutt team is the only one that I currently have no information for on the driver front, but I'm sure during the race they'll be able to tell me who's in the kart as it goes. The mixed bag is still there by 0.188 seconds in front of the Flycom squad from France. And their French contingent still doing a good job. This could even be a preview to the battle that we get on Sunday, actually, out in Russia, because we've got an English team at the top and we've got a French team in second. So you never know. It could happen, guys, especially considering that these guys are pushing very hard indeed. Now, that's an improvement from the mixed bag. They've done a 50.592 to drop the fastest lap time a little bit more. So improvement there, which is good to see. Flycom are still very close. It is currently in the second Go Compare kart. I think that is... being told that that's Hyle Reese who's in the kart at the moment, the young man from Cardiff whose basic ambition in this race is to not die. Oh, honestly, mate, you don't have to be quite so harsh about your own ability. But he does know his motor racing because he lists his heroes as Ayrton Senna and Jim Clark. In my opinion, the two greatest people ever to step into a Formula 1 car. So good choices there, Hal. I absolutely agree with you. Good man. So that looks like Ben Rutt, their team, having a driver change. And also, so is Team Contour, who are back out onto the circuit again. They're currently running in third position, and it was James Townsend who was in that kart very briefly. Will Noy is in the Pistonbroke team at the moment. So he is pushing the kart very quickly around the circuit. They are in, well, they're only 0.8 of a second off pole. So Will Noy, the man from Putney, who's got plenty of experience on Mario Kart and Crash Bandicoot to come into this particular race. And his ambition is not to run out of fuel. And he lists his hero as Pastor Maldonado. Right, get the black flags at the ready. Do it quick. He's the one we need to wave them at. So the mixed bag have got 3 minutes and 5 seconds on the clock to try and extend that advantage, and they have done so with a 50.406. So clearly they have left their fastest man till the very end to get into that particular kart. They want to stamp their authority on this qualifying session, but fastest on one lap does not mean they are going to win this race by any stretch of the imagination. Over 2 hours, putting yourself in pole position counts for a little, but doesn't count for it all, because you've got to stay consistent and solid through the entirety of the race. There is James Townsend for Team Contour. According to what we have in front of us here, that is still James Townsend in the car, although they've actually changed. My apologies. It's now Martin Gibbs who's in the Contour machine. So Martin Gibbs has got into that kart now. Not far away from here, of course, where he comes from. And that is the man from Maidstone. His claim to fame is that he has wonky toes. That could help him today, actually, if things get particularly dodgy out there on the circuit. You never know. That sort of problem could actually end up helping under the braking zones. So with 2 minutes left in the qualifying session, the battle here is really on between Flycom and Contour, who have just 0.04 of a second between them in qualifying here for this 2-hour Buckmore Park Kart Fight Enduro. And I'm not entirely sure which of those teams is eventually going to get the upper hand. There's one final driver change, I think, coming in from Piston Broke, and they really have left this till the bitter end because there's just under 2 minutes to go. So they're going to need to get this driver change done pretty quickly. There is the team that's leading the way, the mixed bag, with their man Alex Williams in the kart at the moment as he tries to get that final flying lap in. But he has managed to get that time down to 50.406 seconds. So this is a very good run over the line. Can they go even faster? Not on that lap, but definitely making improvements as Flycom have decided to make a pit stop very late as well. I'm not sure they're going to get another lap in now because they've left that very late indeed. That's only 1 minute and 10 seconds left of that particular run. So I don't think that they're going to get another flying lap in. I think they've run out of time to do that. The ICE squads are in 4th and 5th. So they're very close together, actually, in terms of time as well. That's just a whisker over 0.02 of a second between the two karts. So very even between those two teams. Then we have the Chargemaster team in 6th position. The Ben Rutt squad in 7th. Piston Broker in 8th. The Go Compare squads have swapped, actually. It's Go Compare 2 now in front of Go Compare 1. And then Curve are still there in 11th position. But they've got their time down to a 53.0. So I think the gap between them now, what's that got to be? It's under 3 seconds now. So they've obviously left their fastest driver till the very end as well. So great to see that the gap from the front to the back is as little as 2.5 seconds, I think, over the course of all 11 teams. And that means that we're going to get a very even 2-hour race. We'll have some of the drivers who are still trying to get up to speed. Some of the faster drivers. Every team basically has a very competent driver in their squad. So this could still go anybody's way, this 2-hour enduro, just because there's one team out there that's got a driver who can get pole position in the mixed bag team with a 50.406. That does not necessarily mean they're going to walk away with the victory. It's how many mistakes they make during the course of the race, how well the strategy goes, and how well they push in the entirety of this race. ICE 2 comes across the line, the number 7, with their driver Sash Kakardia coming across the line. So the drivers getting themselves up to speed. The number 4 comes across the line then, the mixed bag team. And a massive thank you there from the driver who waves to the camera. A pole position time of 50.406 for the mixed bag team. That's not a bad run. However, that can be beaten as right at the very end, the ICE team comes up into 2nd position on a 50.704 right at the bitter end. So they're only 0.3 of a second back from the mixed bag. With their final flying lap, they get themselves up into 2nd place. So good work there from Peter Nixie. So Peter Nixie gets the team up onto the front row of the starting grid as the red flags go out at the end of the session, and all of the teams have now finished their qualifying laps. So it finishes like this. The mixed bag in 1st position, from ICE in 2nd place, Flycom are in 3rd, from Contour in 4th place. The ICE 2 squad are in 5th from Chargemaster. Then it is Ben Rutt from Piston Broke, Go Compare 2 ahead of Go Compare 1, and then Team Curve are in 11th position, and the gap from the front to the back is only 2.6 seconds. So it's going to be very, very close, this 2-hour enduro here at the Kart Fight Buckmore Park event, which is hopefully going to become an annual one. A very exciting battle this, and great to see Kart Fight getting off to a reasonably close start with just 2.6 seconds covering the entirety of the field. Depleted a little bit, unfortunately, thanks to some jolly lads over in Russia doing a bit of light footwork. but we're still going to get some brilliant racing here at Buckmore Park between our 11 teams who are going to go to battle very shortly for 2 hours around this Buckmore Park circuit. But we now have in front of us the starting driver for each team on our Kartfight team list, which of course the teams can update through the course of the race. Please make sure you do that, by the way, drivers, because otherwise I won't know who's in the kart at any particular given moment. So do make sure that whenever there's a driver change, you do update that list so that I don't call one driver a particular name when it's somebody else. So the teams are going to line up on their positions on the grid. The mixed bag will line up alongside the ice team on that front row of the starting grid. So the drivers are going to go straight from the off in their battle for this 2-hour enduro. And the teams are now going to get ready for Kart Fight 2018 here at Buckmore Park. Broadcasted live on Alpha Live's Facebook and YouTube streams, as well as on Karting Magazine and Downforce UK's Facebook stream. So it's going to be a very exciting race battle, and the drivers are getting themselves ready and up to speed as the number 5 kart gets itself into position there. Piston broke in their position, and the last couple of teams will obviously take up their position on the starting grid. There's the number 2, Go Compare 2, and Go Compare 1 lining up in behind. And then the final team on the starting grid is the 11 team, that is Team Curve. So the teams are lining up on the starting grid ready for the Kart Fight Enduro 2018 to get underway here at Buckmore Park. And this is, of course, going to be a very interesting and exciting battle for the 2-hour race in front of us, with 11 teams going to battle at the heart of British karting in the Garden of England. Buckmore Park will see Kart Fight 2018 getting underway very soon indeed, as the drivers are going to line up. They are obviously in their starting grid positions now, and at the signal we will start 2 hours of racing around this fantastic Buckmore Park circuit. So the driver's now in position, waiting for the start. And obviously this is going to be when we'll see all of the drivers at full pelt as they charge forward for that first corner. And it's going to be a really intense battle on that first lap, as drivers will swap around for positions and the battle will commence. 2 hours of race action here. And obviously after qualifying, we know that the gap between the first and last teams on the grid are only 2.6 seconds from qualifying. But in the race itself, that's very different, because they've obviously got to take a fuel stop, 3 mandatory pit stops to change drivers through the course and phases of the race. So this is going to be a very difficult challenge for the drivers in front of us. According to the Kart Fight team list in front of me, it's going to be the mixed bag, starting with Alex Williams in their kart for the first stint. It looks like Team Ice are going to put Sash Kakardia in the kart first of all, although obviously if that is different, then you'll need to go downstairs and change the team driver list. I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of chop and changing over the course of the race itself. In the Team Curve squad at the back of the grid, it's going to be Chihan who starts the race there in number 11, just chatting to the marshals as we get our race underway. But it's not going to be too long. The countdown has begun so that we can get our 2 hours underway. So Kart Fight 2018 here at Buckmore Park is going to get underway very shortly. The sun is just coming in at a rather awkward angle as well for the start of this race. So we're going to get a little bit of heat haze off the visors in the opening phase of proceedings. That's going to make things particularly awkward at the start of this race, actually, because we'll see a few drivers struggling to get a good bit of vision. But we are underway, green flag, and 2 hours of the Buckmore Park Kart Fight 2018 is underway. And what a start from Team Ice as they come round the far side through Henry's Bend into the lead. And as they break into turn 3, no problems at all for the leader out front, already getting a big challenge from the mixed bag as they come through the first couple of corners of the race action. No major dramas in through turn 3, and as they come up towards 4 in the left-hander, 7 up the inside. Good move there for Peter Nixie in the Ice 2 kart as they make their way through. So up into the S's, onto the far side of the circuit. No major dramas as they come dropping down the hill through the right-hander, over the curve and through the left, and then down in the braking zone. Goodness me, the 4 mixed bag very nearly chucking the kart out into the distance, and there's a spin in the middle of the pack, and that's obviously caused quite a bit of pandemonium. 1 or 2 karts going a cropper there. Looks like the 11 Team Curve are in the mix, but we got an amazing battle for the lead already as the mixed bag dives up the inside and takes the lead off Team Ice. That was a very sweet move in the final bend, and now mixed bag has taken over the lead here with the 6th kart of the Ice squad in second place, still chasing them down. The battle is raging, and this is going to go all the way down to the checkered flag in a little under 1 hour and 59 minutes time. They're still side by side as they come into turn 4. And again, the mixed bag trying to shake off Team Ice. This is absolutely awesome as they come through the left hand. and through the right, and then down the drop once again. These two teams looking to make this a bit of a sprint race. I thought this was an enduro lasting 2 hours. They're going to make this a proper Grand Prix battle. They've got 3 mandatory pit stops to take, of course. So how long can these two continuously keep this up? We've got Piston Broke already having a warning for contact, and they are there in 5th position, so battling away with the likes of Go Compare 1, who are right up to 4th position. We did say, didn't we, that this race battle was not going to be dictated by qualifying, although Piston Broke has now come up to 4th place. So we've got Go Compare 1 up down to 5th position. Ice 2 are there in 6th place. Then it's the Ben Rutt team from Go Compare 2, Contour, Curve and Chargemaster. So that is the way things are in the lower end. The French team are there in 3rd place still. Flightcom in 3rd position. So a cracking start to proceedings from them. Piston Broke up to 4th from Go Compare 1 and Ice 2. And look at the battle as up the inside. Go Compare 1 tries to get back on the 7 kart of Ice 2. And Go Compare 2 getting in there, being passed by the 10 of Ben Rutt. So Ben Rutt have come through and made up another place. Great race battles in the early stages here. So the drivers continue to battle away into that lower end of the circuit, and a nice dive up the inside sees the Go Compare 1 kart jostling away and battling and wrestling with the 7 kart as the 10 Ben Rutt kart gets past all 3 of them in the mix there. So that is Ben Rutt up into 5th position. What a bit of a battle that was. Well, we did say it was going to be a kart fight. That was a wrestling match. Absolutely brilliant. Up into 5th position they go then, tucked up behind Piston Broke. So Kartfight gets off to a spectacular getaway, not just at the front, but in the midfield as well. And a late dive up the inside from Go Compare 1. That puts them up. So that is Lewis Miller getting on with it as he moves his way up into 5th position. And there's more great tussling, more great action as they come off the turn once again into turn 4 and up the inside. This could get physical, and it does. Goodness me, Ben Rutt trying to shop his way up the inside again through the right-hander and makes it stick. So up into 7th place again they go. But the leaders are coming through once more. Ben Rutt, no surprises, getting a warning for contact. I know this is called Kart Fight, but there's a little bit of pinball action from that number at the moment. So they come off the far side of the course, the 2 leading karts. The Mixed Bag and Ice are still battling away together, 4 and 6 out in front. Then it's the Flightcom team on their own in 3rd position, although they are being chased down by Piston Broke, who are up in a 4th position. Then comes this tussle for 5th position. We got side by side. I think that's going to be for 8th position, isn't it? As they battle away, that is 8 and... No, that's 8 and 1 battling away. Sorry, that's for 5th position still as Chargemaster do just that, up to 5th position. So they are battling away with the Go Compare 1 squad as they jump down the hill once more, down the crest and through the right and left. This is an absolutely terrific battle, and Chargemaster have got themselves in a 5th position in front of Go Compare 1. Then it is Ben Rutt in front of Ice 2. Go Compare 2 are still there from Contour, and then Team Curve are trying to make up a little bit of a deficit after an early spin. It's a really good battle from these guys as they come up the hill once again, and that's Go Compare 2 having knitted their way perfectly on the inside. A nice change for position, as we know, from Chargemaster, but Contour have got past Go Compare 2 on that last lap as well, and they're up into 9th position. This is the battle for 8th we're watching. Ice 2, Contour and Go Compare 2. They switch together in position once more as Contour tries to get up the inside of Ice 2. Dives for the inside line. Nice move from Martin Gibbs, and it comes together. Big problems there. So that is Ben Rutt that spins as well. Now, he was just in front of them, so it was actually a spin from the Ben Rutt team and their driver, Rob Philp. So they spun, and that has obviously caused a little bit of difficulties there as they spun, and unfortunately, Contour had nowhere to go but into them. And that's what we were talking about. It's all very well being fast in qualifying over 1 lap, but in the race itself, you've just got to be very careful about how you dodge the flotsam and jetsam around the circuit. And out in front, it is still the Mixed Bag from Team Ice. Flycom are there in 3rd position from Piston Broke and Chargemaster. Then it's Go Compare 1 now up to 6th place after that spin. Ice 2 are up to 7th place from Go Compare 2, Ben Rutt and Contour, who are now battling away for 9th place. And then it's Team Curve in 11th, who are now just 3.5 seconds behind these guys. It's a late dive up the inside from Contour. So that's Martin Gibbs going on the inside of Rob Philp as they battle away through turn 4. Here they come past our positions here on the stands as they continue to battle away for position, dropping down the hill once more. This is a great little tussle as they continue their way. Some fantastic race action here from the Buckmore Park Kart Fight once again as the battle is joined. The Mixed Bag still your leaders from Ice in 2nd place. That is Flightcom, Piston Broke, Chargemaster, Go Compare 1, Ice 2, Go Compare 2, Ben Rutt, Contour and Curve. Contact warning goes out this time to the 9. That's the Contour squad. So they continue to battle away for position, but unfortunately they were a little bit too close to the mark there with Ben Rutz, so they've just been given a little bit of a gentle reminder for contact. They can't afford to do too much damage out there on the circuit in terms of where they line up the karts, because otherwise if they get too many reminders, then they're going to get a penalty. And obviously the least amount of penalties you can get over the course of the race, the more likely a chance that you're going to battle for the victory. Now there's a bit of a battle cooking up again between the mixed bag and Ice. I think they made a mistake, the leaders, on that last lap, because they've lost half a second, and we're going to get a lead change here potentially. They come through Henry's Bend, up towards turn 3, in through the hairpin at the far side of the circuit. The two leaders are battling away for the victory. The mixed bag and Ice are scrapping away. A little bit of a gesture there from the 6, Sach Kukadia, in the kart at the moment, on the back of the number 4 of Alex Williams. Through the left, through the right, dropping down the crest, behind the trees, and up through towards the bottom end of the circuit. Is there going to be a late lunge up the inside? Yes, there is, but blocked off nicely from Alex Williams, who holds that inside line. They go up the crest to Guardia, through the right-hand hairpin, and oh, goodness me, 2 wheels on the deck and 2 in the air as they go up over the curbs. They come back up Damon Hill, through the left sweep, flat on the throttle, and a great little battle between these two as Alex Williams leads the way for the mixed bag, doing a fantastic job in the lead of this race to hold on despite the added pressure from Sach Kukadia behind. The number 3, that is currently the Flycom team. Oh, and up the inside, battling for the victory. These two side by side, and they are really pushing and shoving. The 6 is spun out. Ice is spun out there. Now, was that a direct result of the contact, or was that slamming on the brakes to avoid an incident? We're going to have to look back on the replay of that, because that is a great battle for the lead that's ended unfavorably for the number 6. Now, there was a little bit of contact before that, but I'm not entirely sure that the spin was caused by it. I wonder if it was the ice kart just slamming on the brakes to pirouette around. Now, we're told we haven't got a replay of that particular incident, so apologies there. So the mixed bag and Ice, it looked to me as though the 6 just slammed on the brakes to avoid an incident, and that's what pitches the wheels around. And that's the one thing you don't do in this sport. You do not slam on the brakes, because what happens in those incidents is that the front wheels lock, all of the weight transfers to the rear of the kart, the rear overtakes the front. There's nothing you can do about that. The basic physics of the kart mean that if you apply all the power on the brakes, it basically pitches the kart sideways, and there's not much you can do. Now, we didn't notice this, but there's also been a change for 3rd position. Flycom seem to have made a mistake somewhere out there. So the French team are now down into 4th position. Now, I didn't see what happened to them, but there's been a change there, and that's put the Chargemaster team up into 3rd position. And their driver, Will Fowler, doing a fantastic job at the moment, the man from Stratford-on-Avon, whose hero is my hero, Damon Hill, and very appropriately so, considering there's a part of this circuit which is actually named after the 1996 Formula 1 World Champion. Now, up the hill, Will Fowler is obviously going to try and get away from the number 3, which is the Flycom kart, which is currently being driven by Florian Borley of Strasbourg, and he is there in position. And his hero is actually Kylian Mbappé, who is one of the talented motorcycle riders of France, I do believe. Mixed bag still leads. Ice are still 2nd. I should stress that. Despite their spin, they are still in 2nd position. That was a big slide wide from Flycom, who now dives back up the inside of Piston Broke to hang on to 4th position. But Piston Broke are back on the inside and take the place. There's not a lot that Florian can do about that one. And up to 4th position comes Piston Broke. Good move from Will Noy to get up into 4th place for the team there. So a really good bit of driving from Will Noy, who was not going to take defeat lying down there from Florian, who was there in the 4th position initially. But unfortunately, on that particular occasion, Florian Borley was basically having to concede that particular position. So from 3rd position, they have now gone down to 5th place. In 6th place now is the Go Compare 1 car. We've got a great battle shaping up and over the crest of the hill. This is Ice 2, Go Compare 2, and Contour having an amazing scrap. Contour now at the front of it. Go Compare 2 having another go with Hal Rees in the kart at the moment. But Contour's driver, Martin Gibbs, still hanging on to the leaders. Up the inside, that's a very late lunge to come in from Peter Nixie. And it's a spin, unfortunately, for... Now, which of the karts is it that's gone there? I think it's the 7 that went there. That is Ice 2. So, unfortunately, Peter Nixie just slammed on the brakes into the 3rd hairpin. He was going to make the overtaking move, but he just slammed on the brakes a little too much, and that's where the back end steps out. So the mixed bag leads the way. Ice in second, Chargemaster third from Piston Broke, Flycom and Go Compare 1. Contour are now in seventh in front of Go Compare 2 and Ice 2. Then it's Ben Rutt and Team Curve with only 2 seconds covering Ben Rutt and Curve down at the back. So it's still all to play for with the first 12 minutes or so of the race completed. There is still a long, long way to go here at Buckmore Park, and a great little battle that we've got going on between the teams. And every time a team makes a mistake, their 10 opposition basically makes a little bit of a benefit from it. So you can't afford to make too many mistakes out there. This has got to be about composure and control. You cannot afford to throw the cart around too much. The mixed bag have a lead of 4.9 seconds at the precise moment in time. As now we've got a battle developing for 5th position. Flycom have dropped from 3rd to 5th, and now they've got to try and defend from Go Compare 1. They're coming into Damon Hill now as they come up the hill. But Go Compare 1, with their driver Lewis Miller, is definitely closing in on the French team Flycom, who are in 5th position. Going through turn 1 now, those two karts. 0.4 of a second as they go through as well, so there's not much in it. There's the team currently sat in 7th place. That's Contour. Here's that battle for 5th position between Flycom and Go Compare 1. Here they come through. They've gone through turn 3. Now they go back into position, and they're side by side, and a spin, unfortunately, for Go Compare 1, trying to get on the inside of Flycom. Oh dear, Lewis Miller just got a little bit too hot-headed there into the hairpin. Thought he had the move done, but unfortunately not on that occasion. So Lewis Miller, it looks like he's going to have to come up with another game plan. The man from Abergavenny, whose goal is not to finish last. Well, so far mission accomplished, so they're going to try and continue that sort of battle, but unfortunately it's not gone well for the moment. Now the mixed bag is really starting to jog on a pace now. They've got that gap ahead of Ice up to 6.6 seconds, so that spin from Ice has really dented the confidence a little bit, and it's dropped them back considerably. Now the difficulty here is that they've only got to make a mandatory 3 pit stops. Now that would suggest for the drivers who want to keep that pit stop tally to as minimal as possible, is that they've got to keep their drivers out there for half an hour each time, effectively, if they want to be as cost effective with pit stops as possible. But half an hour is an awfully long time in these karts. It's a bit of an Ironman challenge in front of them, but if they want to keep the pit stops down to just 3 over the course of the race, then ultimately they've got to keep their drivers out there for the whole half an hour. However, there are going to be some drivers who will only be able to do 20 minutes. So do you save time by having a 4th pit stop and leaving your drivers out there for 20 minutes each? And do you lose less time by overtaking? Oh, it's a big move on the inside for the race leader, lapping Curve, and unfortunately Curve has gone around. Now, that's going to be an interesting debate there, because the stewards have to look at that incident and think, did they push the car out of the way to gain track position? Because if they did, then that could be a penalty for the race leaders. That's a big problem. They've got to try and assess whether the Curve team were getting out of the way and basically turned in, or did the leaders basically shove them out of the way? It's a bit of a difficult problem, and now the mixed bag team are having to lap slower karts, but of course they're all identical in appearance, so these guys don't know who they're racing against. They don't know it's the race leader. I don't think blue flags are being used today, so from their point of view, they think they're in a battle with the race leader. That's what makes this race particularly entertaining, is that the leaders have got to go through karts that they're clearly faster than over 1 lap, but they've got to do the work, and obviously it's Kart Fight. They're going to battle no matter what. Up the inside into that hairpin, and still Ice 2 is trying to get on with this. So yes, look, a warning has gone out to the mixed bag. They clearly felt that the mixed bag team caused that incident with Team Curve, so they've been given a warning for contact. The race leaders are not out of the war zones yet here. They've got to do this carefully. So if they get into any more risky business with some of the slower karts, then there's a very good chance they could get a penalty. Meanwhile, lapping those back markers has definitely given these two teams a little bit of a hurry up. This is Ice 2 and Ben Rutt, with Peter Nixie and Rob Philp in the karts at the moment. And they are still battling away. This is for 8th position as they tussle away together. It's probably the closest battle on track, except for the battle for 5th place. Up the inside, Ben Rutt tries, and oh, that's a big save. He comes off the turn and is actually going to nearly get up alongside the Ice 2 kart. Up the inside, a good bit of defence from Peter Nixie, but if there's a little bit of switch back up the inside there from Rob Philp, he can get a good bit of tussle. They're going to go side by side very nearly up to Damon Hill before Philp finally concedes. But that's the kind of battle, basically, that we're going to get all the way through this encounter. Fantastic stuff. and very close racing throughout. So now we've got Piston Broken Contour battling it out for 4th position, a little further back as, again, the 10 of Ben Rudd tries to make a move on the inside of Ice 2 and puts the car perfectly up the inside at turn 4. That's a great move from the Ben Rudd squad, and Philp really made the number 7 do all of the hard work in that corner there. Peter Nixie a little bit taken aback, I think, by the 10, just diving up the inside and making the move, and now having to make some very late lunges in order to gain track position back. But that's job done from Ben Rutt, and Rob Philp getting through nice and neatly there, beautifully done. Now we're being told the Flycom team actually has Quentin Mbappe in the kart at the moment, so Flycom have made a pit stop. So too has Go Compare 1. So Go Compare 1 is making a pit stop. It was Lewis Miller in the kart. So we'll find out who is in the kart now as they make a driver change. But a very interesting early phase of the race, because we're only at the 18th minute, I think, of the race. So a couple of drivers are making pit stops now. So again, that is a bit of an indication that some teams are deciding that half an hour is too long to leave their drivers out. So some of them look like they're going to go for 4 pit stops at 20 minutes or so. So this is going to be a very long race for a couple of the teams out there, as they're obviously going to have to make 1 extra pit stop. Either that, or they're going to leave 1 driver out there for 45 minutes or so, which is going to be a very long time. As up the inside, Ice 2 comes back to Ben Rutt, and Ice 1 is lapping them in the middle of this battle. So he's going to have to get out of the way very carefully as he puts 2 wheels on the grass up Damon Hill. Goodness me, that was tight. Has he been able to get out of that without too much trouble? Well, Ben Rutt's trying to overtake Ice 2 while Ice 1 is coming through, and a spin from Ben Rutt, and somehow he keeps it out of the wall at Henry's Bend. Goodness me, that was close. Now, the team need to communicate here. Get out of the way, we're teammates. Get out of the way, let me go through. And he's not doing so. So he puts his hand up, that's my teammate, and he knows it. Look, they're having a race that's completely pointless at the moment, the 2 ice carts. One of them, the number 7, has got to get out of the way here and let the 2nd place kart in the race through. How do they communicate this? This is a real inter-team battle. One is being lapped, the number 7, which is Peter Nixie at the wheel. The number 6 has Sash Kukardi at the wheel, trying to get through. Come on, mate, move aside. We're the same team here. Help me out. And still, he's not letting him get through. This is a big problem as they come up the hill. There's your race leader, the mixed bag. And that's the kind of pace he's lost. Now he dives up the inside and takes the position. And I wonder if the number 7 is going to clock. Oh, wait, that's my teammate. I've just been holding up for a lap and a half. Whoops. And there's a limit there for track, a warning for track limits there for the number 6 ice cart. I am not in the least bit surprised. 2 wheels on the track and 2 wheels on the grass up Damon Hill is definitely not cricket. So no surprises that he got the warning there. So Chargemaster are in 3rd position, from Contour now in 4th. Piston Broke in 5th from Go Compare 2. Ice 2 are next up in the mix. Then it is Ben Rutt from Curve, Flycom and Go Compare 1. Although those 2 teams, I can point out, Flycom and Go Compare 1 have made pit stops. So they have made the first pit stops of the race. And I'm told it is Quentin Mbappe who is now in the Flycom team. And in Go Compare 1, it was Lewis Miller, but I'm not sure who it is now. There's a warning going out to Flycom, actually, for contact, as the number 4, the race leader, the mixed bag is coming up to lap Go Compare 2 with, I think it's Miles who's in the kart at the moment, actually, in that particular kart. At least that's what I'm being told. So a change of driver has come in there. It's now Miles Cook who is in the kart, who, of course, is the production BMW Championship competitor. So a good battle all the way up and down this race, as we've got just under an hour and 40 to go. So 2 teams have made their first mandatory pit stop. The rest of them are hopefully going to go another 9.5 minutes or so that they can get to that natural first pit stop of 3. Of course, every team has got to make a fuel stop in the phase of this. A nice move up the inside there from Chargemaster, and a spin behind. Now, I think that's Flycom that's gone there, as they were lapping Curve. I think it's Flycom that's had the incident there and spun away. So we'll double check as they come back into view. And it was, unfortunately, the number 3, Flycom, who has now lost that place to Curve. So a bit of a moment there for the French team, unfortunately, as Flycom has now dropped to the back of the field as a result of that, down to 11th place with that spin. So a long way for the team that was at one point in 2nd position in qualifying, to now fight their way back from 11th position. We did say that it was going to be very unpredictable to figure out which team is going to get the victory here. And with every team having a slightly faster driver and every team having a slightly slower driver, it's obviously going to be very interesting. Now, Go Compare 2 have not been able to get to the half-hour mark either without a driver change. So it's going to be the production BMW driver Miles Cook who gets into the kart now. So that's what the driver change was there. So it looks to me as though there's going to be a very long stint from one or two of the teams out there, as track limits warned again for Team Curve. But Go Compare 1 drops to 10th position as a result of that pit stop. In fact, that pit stop means they might have ended up down to 11th position now. I'm not sure if Flycom overtook them or not. The mixed bag team, by the way, is lapping Piston Broke on the start-finish line in their battle for track supremacy. So let's see how this is going to go for our race leader. Mixed Bag is there along with Piston Broke. Here they come into the corner, and Mixed Bag has made light work of the Piston Broke team on that particular occasion as they come through. There's Team Ice, 13.5 seconds back from the Mixed Bag team, and not too far away from them should be the third place squad now, which is Charge Master. So we've had the freneticism of the first 25 minutes or so of the race, very nearly 25 minutes anyway, and now teams are starting to settle into a bit of a rhythm. Go Compare 2, they have got themselves back down to 8th position, as the drivers are still racing very hard indeed there. Contour in 4th position behind Charge Master. They're about 13 seconds back, which is about a third of a lap around this particular circuit. I'd say actually it's closer to a quarter, doing my math very quickly in my head. So yes, it's about a quarter of the circuit, 13 seconds. Charge Master are about 20 back from Team Ice, who are in 2nd place. The Mixed Bag have completed their 27th lap, and they're on lap 28 of this race. Oh, goodness me, going down the hill. We got a spin. That's the 2 going around. The 2 going around there is Go Compare 2. And a big slide from the Curve team as they realise that the 2 is there and just about get away without too much drama. But Go Compare 2, unfortunately, has lost a massive amount of time, and they have dropped down to 10th position behind Flycom. So the French team that were down in 11th place have now already made their way back up to 9th place. This is the phase of the race when mistakes are going to start creeping in, as drivers are under pressure not to make too many errors, and drivers are obviously going to start overcooking it just a little bit. So we'll see a lot of driver change positions out on the circuit as teams start to push a little bit more. They want to obviously get more out of their karts, but it's always difficult in this phase of the race because the drivers are obviously pushing it to a very high degree as they want to keep the ebb and flow going through the course of their 2-hour enduro. 1 hour 36 on the clock. So this is obviously going to be the first phase of pit stops for the leaders coming up, and certainly for the top 6, they have all yet to pit. Now, from what I can remember, we've had both of the Go Compare karts in, we've had Flycom in, and I think we've had one more, but I can't remember who it is that has made their mandatory pit stop at the moment as well. But there's definitely been some driver changes already, and it's now Tim Clark who is in the Go Compare 1 kart, so that's just been updated. A massive thank you to the Go Compare team for that one. Tim Clark from Abertillery, whose hero is Michael Schumacher. No surprises that we were going to have someone whose hero is Michael Schumacher, one of the great legends of motor racing, of course, and 7 times world champion. So the Mixed Bag in front of Team Ice. 14 seconds is the gap between those two teams at this precise moment in time. Charge Master in 3rd from Contour. Piston Broke in 5th from Ice 2. Ben Rutt, Team Curve in 8th. Welcome back to Buckmore Park's Kart Fight 2018. Apologies for those who have lost us around the web. We are broadcasting live on Alpha Live's YouTube and Facebook stream, and of course on Karting Magazine and Downforce UK's Facebook stream as well. Some great action here in the first half an hour of the Kart Fight 2018 battle. 2-hour enduro here with teams from all across Great Britain and even further afield as well. The Flycom team have come all the way from France to be here today as we battle away for supremacy. We are getting into the business end of the pit stop phase as Charge Master pits in from 3rd position. So this is the point now when all of the big teams at the front end of the grid are going to make their first mandatory driver change. They've basically got to try and time this so they don't lose too many places over the course of proceedings, because a few of the teams have already made a pit stop at the 20-minute mark because they just couldn't physically get any further. This is an incredibly physical circuit, don't forget. It's very uphill, down dale, tight and twisty, a very physical circuit. Looks like the number 7 is going to come in. So that is Ice 2. Now, Ice 2 are one of the top teams in the race. They're in 6th position at this point. So they're going to make a change. Chargemaster have done the same thing. So the big teams in this race at the top end are now making their first mandatory driver changes. Now, they have to have a minimum of 3 driver changes over the course of the race, one of those being a fuel stop as well. So that would see them in the pits for a good 30 to 40 seconds longer than a normal driver change would. This is all going to come down to team strategy and how long drivers take making those driver changes. Some teams are doing it fairly quickly. I noticed that Flycom are back in the pits again. So Flycom, having made their way back up into 8th position, they were only in 10 minutes ago, and Flycom are straight back in again. So very interesting. We got a spin on the start-finish line as well. That is Go Compare 1, have made a bit of a spin there on the start-finish line coming out of the pits, as drivers are still battling away. Let's Go Compare 2 battling away with the Ben Rutt squad at the moment, with Rob Philp and Miles Cook in that particular squad at the moment. It looks as though Eamon has got back into Ice 2 and Rich Martel has jumped into the Ice 1 squad. So expect that gap of 41 seconds between them and the mixed bag to come down. So they've had a change of driver at Team Ice. Rich Martel's going to get back into the zone. He's got to make up 41 seconds, but then the mixed bag do have to make a driver change themselves. So we're almost completely through the pit stop cycle with every team looking to make their pit stops now. So I'm just trying to figure out which teams have and which teams haven't made mandatory pit stops. My timing screen in front of me should be able to tell me that if we change one of the settings on it. So we'll have a look and see how many teams have made pit stops over the course of proceedings through the timing phase of it. We might not be able to keep on tabs of that in a massive amount of detail, but we do know that the pit stops, obviously from each team, have to be a mandatory 3 pit stops. Flycom have very nearly achieved that already because we've got half an hour into the race and they've pitted twice. So very dramatic race it is for the French team. Ben Rutt have come into the pits for their first mandatory stop. They've taken a long time to do it. Into the pits too comes Contour from 4th place. They've got a decent gap over Piston Broke in this early phase of proceedings. But where are the mixed bag? They're taking quite a long time. They have yet to pit, the leaders. And they go quite a long way, and that's a spin from Curve at the bottom of the hill, and mixed bag very nearly getting involved in that one. The race leaders getting impeded just a little bit there. So when are they going to make their mandatory driver change? Because I'm fairly sure every other team has done so. They're currently tucked up behind Go Compare 1. Is this going to be into the pits? We'll find out this time. No, it's not. So the race leaders continue on then. The mixed bag team out in front, and they are the only team, to my knowledge, that have yet to make a pit stop. So they are still going on. Oh, contact between the 2 of them! Contact between the 2 carts out there, and a third one has spun. But that is Go Compare 1 and the race leaders, the mixed bag. Now, he's obviously shaking his fist as if to say, what were you playing at? But this team has yet to pit, and that's cost them a good 10 seconds. Now, if the mixed bag team were to make their driver change sooner rather than later, that would surely put the Ice team on their tail. But they've got to consider their driver change soon, because obviously they've gone past the point of half an hour. They've clearly left a fast driver out there for a long time. Is this the time for a driver change for the mixed bag squad? We'll find out as they come up over Damon Hill this time by. And yes, they are being called into the pits. So this is going to be a driver change for the race leaders in pit lane. So the mixed bag team, are they going to come in this time straight away? No, I think they've gone on for one more lap. So they're going to go one more lap around the circuit. Yes, there is the race leaders. Now, the Ice team have had a clean lap by comparison. The mixed bag team are just on a 56.924. Where is the Ice team? Coming up over the line now. They will be coming or certainly very shortly anyway. The number 6 cart should be coming through. The gap was 42.5 seconds at the last timing split. Here is the Ice team with Rich Martel in the cart at the moment. Through the left-hander. And I don't think that gap's going to be 42.5 anymore. It's going to come down quite considerably as he comes across the line. Yes, 36.9 is now the gap. So the mixed bag team need to get on with this driver change and do it pretty rapidly if they're going to hang on to the lead of this race. But that spin definitely didn't help. So they're coming into the pits. So the mixed bag team are now in pit lane. Now, are they going to retain the lead of this race? Because Rich Martel is on the far side of the circuit. battling his way to move forward. I think they're going to be all right, actually, the mixed bag, because they're doing pretty quick on their pit stops. But what has changed is that the Chargemaster team in third position have got back onto the lead lap. So out onto the pits, onto the circuit goes the mixed bag team again, and they have retained the lead. But that gap has obviously come down quite a lot as a result of that pit stop. So for the moment, at least, the mixed bag team still retain the lead. So as the ICE team comes across the line, the gap is now just 16.8 seconds. So the mixed bag team definitely needing to step up their game to get away from Team ICE once again. And it's obviously going to count those first couple of laps with their new driver in the kart. We've got a good battle going on here between Go Compare 1 and Team Curve. Good to see the splits now between the teams to see where the battles are. You're looking at the overall times from front to back at the moment to see what the distances are. Chargemaster's now got to within 44.1 seconds of the race lead as a result of that pit stop. We've got another pit stop. That's Go Compare 1 back in the pits yet again. So that's their second pit stop in the race already, I think. So obviously some teams are going to be pit stop frenzies through the course of this race, but there are others who are going to try their very best to keep these pit stops down to just down to just 3 over the course of proceedings. But with 1 minute 24 and a half to go, this is going to be very, very tight and a very interesting battle. So with an hour and 24 minutes still to go, let's have a look at the split times between each particular competitor out on the circuit, because previously we did have the total. Now we can see the distance between each competitor around the circuit to see where the gap is. That phase of pit stops has spread things out a little bit between each of the competitors. The closest battle on circuit at the moment appears to be that between Contour and Ice 2, although they had a spin there from Curve, a spin there from the Curve team on the exit of Garda, and that's dropped them further into the clutches of the Go Compare 2 squad, who is signalling big style as he comes up the hill. I'm thinking that's a pit stop call. Come on, I need to pit, I need to pit. So we'll double check on that one. The mixed bag leading the way by 14.9 seconds to the ICE team after 36 minutes very nearly of racing completed. We're on the 43rd lap of this Kart Fight battle, and it really is turning into quite a spectacular race between each of these teams as they continue to battle away around the circuit. Into the pits comes Go Compare 1. So the Go Compare teams are really struggling to keep their drivers out there for any longer than about 20 minutes or so. And that just shows you the physical punishment of this Buckmore Park circuit is really hampering these teams at the moment as they are working so hard to try and get this race completed on as minimum amount of pit stops as possible. But this is a very physical circuit. I did think coming into this one that half an hour would be a big ask for a lot of the drivers and teams out there as the mixed bag goes around the outside of the Go Compare 1 team to put a lap on them. But this is always going to be a very tough race indeed for a lot of the teams out there, because this isn't just any ordinary racetrack that these guys are doing a 2-hour enduro on. It's Buckmore Park. I've done a few laps of this in a much faster kart than these particular karts are, and it's like taking a series of punches in the back every time you go around a very physically demanding corner. So in these karts for longer, the more you do it, the more physically draining it's going to be. No wonder it's a kart fight. So the gap is coming down all the time as well between the mixed bag and ICE. Well, actually, on that last lap, it went up a bit. The gap is up to 15.4 seconds, with Chargemaster still relatively close in third position from Piston Broke, Contour, Ice 2, Ben Rutt, Flycom, Curve, and then the Go Compare karts, 2 ahead of 1 at the moment, with half a minute between those two machines, and both teams having made 2 pit stops by the look of it. Track limit warning goes to the French squad, Flycom, who are there in 8th position at the moment, 19 seconds off the back of Ben Rutt. So they've had a bit of an incident there, which is probably why they've been given a warning, actually. They come off the turn, these two particular karts. That is Chargemaster, who have just gone a lap ahead of Ice 2 as they continue to battle. Ice 2 are currently in 6th position, with Chargemaster looking at a podium finish at the moment. Looks like another driver change is imminent there in the background in the pit lane. But if things stay as they are... Oh, we got a spin down at the bottom of the hill. That's Curve again. Really struggling with that corner at the bottom of the hill there on the way up towards Garda several times. Oh, and that's a spin for Flycom. And they've lost it at the scariest part of the course to go off, actually, which is through that bottom-end right-hander. And Curve have gone off again. That's twice in 2 corners for Curve. I would not be surprised if there's a driver change coming for the 11 team, because their man is really struggling out there at the moment. So some problems there, as the Ben Rutt team have now got Edwina Surtees out in the kart, the number 10. Let's have a look at some more drivers who have made changes. We've got Clement Pavard out there now for the Flycom squad. Kieran Russ has taken over the Go Compare 1 team. We've got Will Fowler still in at Chargemaster by the look of it, because of course they've got 3 drivers, I think, in the Chargemaster team, so they're going to be limited as to which drivers can go in the kart and whose aren't. I don't think there's been a change of driver at Curve, despite the fact that they've come in, or certainly they haven't updated it on the team list if they have. And George Bonnet has taken over at the Contour team, and they are still doing a very good job in 4th place. A big spin for Flycom down the bottom of the hill. That's a double pirouette for Clement Pavard. And my goodness me, I've not seen a spin like that at that part of the circuit in a while. This is a very physically demanding circuit, as we keep saying, and drivers are pushing it and finding their limit at various points around the track. So great to see this Buckmore Park circuit testing drivers to their absolute limit. There's the race leader going up the hill, the mixed bag team, still out in front and still putting on a good show. It was Alex Williams who was in that kart originally. I'm not sure who's in the kart now, but obviously they've made a change of driver. So we'll have to find out who that is when it's updated on the driver name sheet in the indoor facility downstairs. I'm sure somebody from the team will be able to run over and update us with who that is in that particular kart at the moment, because it was definitely Alex Williams who started the race. I'm not sure if he's in the kart at the moment. I think they've had a change of driver since then. So the mixed bag is still leading. Ice in 2nd place. Great tussles all around the circuit as drivers continue to pound around. An hour and 19 to go. Great racing here at Buckmore Park, continuing on as the drivers continue their battle uphill. That's the 2 kart, Go Compare 2, trying to get away from Flycom, who are trying to lap them. So a great little tussle all around the circuit as the 8 and 7 are on track together. That's Chargemaster in front of Ice 2. They have put a lap on them of late, and up the inside that is Flycom trying to gain ground on Go Compare 2 as they make their way up the inside. There are the leaders, though. The mixed bag dealing with traffic at the moment, and that's going to be one of the things that make or break this race as he tries to make his move up the inside of Ice 2. But Ice 2 is not playing any ball with these guys in the lead at all. They're just battling away for position as the racing continues to get incredibly tight between these drivers in the midfield. And this is where the race can be won and lost, in the flow of traffic, as the mixed bag tightens up on the inside of Ice 2 there on the exit. Nice manoeuvre, and now he's going to make a move up the inside of Go Compare 2. Back end kicks out, but that's perfectly acceptable. No problem at all with that move. As up the hill, they're going to get on terms with the kart in 3rd position. That is Chargemaster. So the leaders are about to lap 3rd place, which means that they have nearly lapped everybody in this entire race at the 1 hour 17 minutes to go moment. And up the inside of Chargemaster, they've got to do this quickly if they're going to. Nicely done. So the mixed bag has now lapped the entire field up to Ice in 2nd place, who are just 14 seconds back. Now that was an incident there. We've had the 7 go down at the bottom of the hill. No, that's not the 7. Sorry, that's the 1. Tagging with Contour in 4th position. So Go Compare 1 were being lapped there by Contour, and the pair of them have come off the road. Now the mixed bag is still there in 1st position, with Chargemaster in 3rd position, currently being driven, according to what we've got in front of us, by Will Fowler. So the Chargemaster team continuing on there in 3rd position. Some great battles here in Kart Fight 2018 as this 2-hour enduro continues in these incredibly brilliant racing karts. The new fleet that have arrived at Buckmore Park in the last few weeks as well on this incredibly demanding racetrack here at Buckmore Park, the heart of British karting in the Garden of England. And what a fantastic facility the Surtees family have continued to maintain over the last 3 years or so. The work goes on very much in the spirit and the honour of John Surtees' memory. And I think it's fantastic to see this facility still putting on fantastic top quality motorsport here in this magnificent facility. So there is the Flycom team about to be lapped by our race leaders, the mixed bag team. And I think that's for the 2nd time of asking they've put a lap on them now. Might even be a 3rd at this point in the race. And this is where the solid consistency and the metronomic rhythm of the drivers really needs to be resolute as the drivers continue to pound around this very aggressive circuit. They've got to keep their wits about them. There's the 7, that's the Ice 2 team in 5th position. So they have gone a lap down on both Chargemaster and the mixed bag of late. So we've only got 2 or 3 karts really at the sharp end staying consistent, but this race is going to be won and lost over the entire spread of the draw. Go Compare 2 are in again. So they are really struggling with the brute physicality of this circuit. It's caught out a lot of the teams already. I just don't think they were prepared for how physically demanding this circuit can be for half an hour. And some of the drivers have said, you know what, I just can't hack it for half an hour. It's very, very physical. That's Clement Pavard having a bit of a battle there with the 8th kart of Chargemaster, who are trying to lap them. But Clement Pavard is being quite deliberate and he's not letting the Chargemaster kart through. Not entirely sure who's in that kart at the moment, because I think it's being updated at the moment on the team list. We'll find out which driver it is very shortly, I'm sure. But Chris Davies, we are told, is the man who is currently driving the mixed bag kart in the lead of the race. We're just looking at the fastest lap times now from the teams out there to give you an idea as to who is setting what sort of pace in terms of their ultimate fastest lap. 50.021 is the fastest lap of the race, and no surprises, it's being set by the leader as the Curve team. Literally those four-wheel drifting down the hill. How they hung on to that one, I do not know, but that was a very scary moment for the team sat in 9th place. That is about as far over the limit as you can go without throwing it into the scenery. Goodness me, that's a proper wake-up call. So that got a little bit scary. Apologies for that. The mixed bag have the fastest lap of the race, a 50.0 compared to Ice in 2nd place, who have a 50.3. Chargemaster and Contour are only separated by a few hundredths of a second, both on a 50.5. The rest of the field are all in the 51s, with the fastest team out there being Ice 2 in 5th position on a 51.2. Ben Rutt have a 51.5, slightly slower than Piston Broke, who are behind them at the moment, as up the inside goes Contour to put a lap on Go Compare 2, who have made another driver change of late. I don't think it's Miles in the kart anymore, so we'll find out which team, which driver it is, sorry, who's in that kart very shortly. But Chris Davies is having trouble with the Chargemaster kart at the moment, trying to come through, the current race leader. Chris Davies, he's got a nice bit of an advantage over the Chargemaster kart. And it looks to me as though the Chargemaster kart has unlapped itself from the race leader and he's trying to come back into it. Or is that the second time they're going to come through? Now they have put a lap on them once again. But the Chargemaster team had basically unlapped themselves from the race leader's mixed bag and Chris Davies. So I wonder if there was an incident that Chris Davies got into a few laps ago that has put Chargemaster back in front. But they have got that lap lead over them once more. So let's have a look again at the distances between the drivers. We now get an idea. The gap between the fastest laps is only 1.9 seconds through the field. So very good to see how close the teams have been over the course of the first hour. But as we approach the second hour, it'll be good to see what the distances between the individual teams are now, because we're obviously getting into that second phase of the pit stop window. The gap between the mixed bag and Team Ice is only 7.8 seconds, so they must have had an incident that's dropped them back. And that's, again, the difficulty of going through the traffic. A big lunge up the inside of the Flycom squad. My word, they timed that one to perfection. That was a very big lunge from Chris Davies as he charged up the inside of the Flycom squad. Now, we've got a bit of a deficit now that they have lost a massive amount of time. They were a good 15 seconds clear, so they've lost half their lead somewhere. Didn't see what happened to them, unfortunately, but the gap is now down from the race leader to 2nd place to just 7.2 seconds. And Rich Martel is just pounding around the circuit, getting good pace into the kart, and he's not really breaking a sweat at the moment. He knows this track very well, of course. He is, of course, the son-in-law of John Surtees, so he will know this circuit very well. The battle continues on here. The mixed bag team comes up and over the top of the crest of the hill and over the start-finish line to begin lap 57. What is the gap back to the Ice team in 2nd place? And this is for the lead of the race, let's not forget, across the line. And that kart is 7.9 seconds back. So it's still fairly consistent as the Flycom team is about to get lapped by the 2nd place team. Up the inside, nice move from Rich Martel as he goes through, no problem at all there. Nice little battle going on between these two on the road as well. This is Go Compare 2 being lapped by Curve. And that's another change of driver that's gone on at Go Compare 2. They've been really struggling for raw pace in the early phase of proceedings. It's been a very physical race, this, and I think a lot of teams have been very surprised as the Curve squad go for another pirouette at the scariest point on the circuit. And spinning with them goes the number 2 of Go Compare 2. So I think that was a reactionary spin, both of them going together. Forget synchronized swimming. This is synchronized spinning from the drivers out there as they fly around the circuit at the scariest point on the course, dropping downhill, flat through the right-hander. and the back end spinning out big time. So that got a bit scary once again for the two drivers there. If there's any point on the circuit I wouldn't want to go off, there are two parts of the circuit that for me would hold the most fear. One of them is that very corner, because you get very high velocity going around at that point, and several drivers have. The other place I wouldn't want to go off around here is Henry's Bend, turn 2, because you come out of that first pair of right-handers over the start-finish line, and that second one, if you get too wide there, that can spit you out very quickly. Fortunately, we've not had anybody go off at that particular point on the circuit today, so everybody has been very, very careful through that first two corners, but that bottom of the hill really does catch drivers out. So the gap between first and second as we approach the end of the first hour is 8.1 seconds. So well, it was 8.1 seconds, but the ICE team have now moved forward. So it's getting very exciting out there as the drivers continue to battle. They come uphill once again, and still the battle is raging here in this fantastic kart fight encounter. 8 seconds is the gap. That's the 5 going through. That is the 5 of Piston Broke. Now, I'm told, well, it shows here on the driver list in front of us that it's Will Noy in the kart, but I don't think that is Will Noy anymore, who is in that particular kart. We are told that Ollie Upton is the driver that's taken over at Chargemaster, which makes perfect sense. And I think there's been a driver change at Flycom as well. I think it's now Camille Giraud who is in the kart at this precise moment in time. So the battle continuing on as the racing is getting pretty fever pitch out there as they come into the second phase of this hour enduro. Now the next pit stop at the hour mark is basically going to be the refueling stop, and obviously they're going to have to do this one at a time because of the mechanics that we've got down there in position. So I would suspect that this is going to... Oh, that's a spin from the one. That's Go Compare 1. That's had an off there down at the bottom of the hill and has got going again. So a bit of a problem there for Kieran Russ in the Go Compare 1 kart. At least that's who I've got in the kart listed in front of me on my team driver list. So I'm assuming that that's been a bit of an issue there for Kieran Russ as he's made a bit of a boo-boo there. Up the top of the hill, we've got several drivers still battling away for position. Into the pits comes the Go Compare 1 kart, so it looks like a driver change was imminent anyway. There's a bit of a tight moment there between Team Curve and Piston Broke. Piston Broke trying to stay out of trouble there effectively. And a bit of a slide now as 3 karts are going to go wide. And you notice there that it's very difficult to see at that point of the circuit because the sun is coming down pretty quick now. And that's going to make the latter half of this race very tricky because, of course, when the light hits you at a certain point on the circuit at that bottom end, it's going to be very tricky to see through the heat haze. And that is going to be another factor for the drivers to cope with. They're really going to struggle for visibility at various points of the race. And we've got an incident down at the bottom of the up at the top of Garda, and it's the race leader. It's the race leader, Mixed Bag. Are we going to get a change of lead? Yes, we are. A change of lead there as Ice has come through to take the lead. Mixed Bag taken out on the bottom of Garda, and we have a new leader. Ice has taken the lead of this race by just 0.2 of a second. Now we're going to get a bit of a tussle on the hands between the 6 and the 4 karts as they battle away once again. Rich Martel having taken the lead. Can he get it back again? Well, Mixed Bag is trying to get back on the inside of the 2. We did say that this race is not won yet, and it's absolutely fever pitch once again now as the battle continues here in Kart Fight 2018. But there's been a lead change because of the Mixed Bag tripping over back markers, and now the battle is raging between these two teams as they come through the right-hander down at the bottom of the hill. And it's going to be Rich Martel versus Chris Davies as they squabble away in these two teams up towards Garda. And Rich Martel passing the scene of the crime where Mixed Bag ended up down the order. And now the race really is on between these two teams. We keep saying this. This race can change in a heartbeat. And for the Mixed Bag, who had 8 seconds in hand, now they are second, playing catch-up to the Ice team. Wow, this race has suddenly transformed as now Ice have got a lead of 0.8 of a second, and Chris Davies clearly stressed out, having lost the lead of the race through no fault of his own, because it's a difficulty. You've got to try and come through the field and use the traffic to your advantage. Clearly, he's obviously tried to overtake somebody, and they've not realised that the overtaking move was on. Meanwhile, the race leader in front of them is closing up on the kart in 3rd position to lap them for the first time. So these are effectively the top 3 karts in the race. The 8 kart in front, driven by Ollie Upton, is the Chargemaster team, and they are currently leading proceedings in this position on the road. As the Go Compare kart goes around. That's the number 2 kart that has gone around, and that is the kart currently being driven by, I think it is Luis Aguar, who is in the kart at the moment, who's based out in Manchester. He's originally from Rio de Janeiro, of course, but lives in London these days, and his hero is Valentino Rossi. So a good run there from the Go Compare 2 kart as it continues on in its battle. Now the race leaders are very much in danger of tripping over the Chargemaster kart, which is in 3rd position. Now they're putting a lap on them. 2nd place is right behind. This is a fascinating phase of the race because they've just gained the lead back. Rich Martel going for the inside of Chargemaster. Now Chargemaster may not necessarily know they're being lapped here and are going to try and get straight back up the inside. Not going to happen. And we've got a yellow flag. That's a spin for the Go Compare 2 kart that's come off at turn 3. So Go Compare 2 comes off at turn 3 once again, unfortunately. But Rich Martel has got through 9/10 of a second clear of the number 4 kart. Where is the number 4 kart tucked up behind Chargemaster? That's where. So the first 2 karts have lapped 3rd place. So the first 2 karts have lapped the 3rd place machine. So we've got some barrier damage as a result of that spin earlier on, and back up the inside goes the mixed bag. They're actually dueling for position on the racetrack, although they're a lap apart in 2nd and 3rd place. But this has absolutely gift-wrapped a golden opportunity for Team Ice to steal a big lead in this phase of the race. And we're getting close to that 2nd mandatory pit stop, which of course is going to be the fuel stop. So every second is going to count, especially with these 2 teams covered by less than a second at the moment. So it's going to be fascinating to see how this race plays out between the 2 leaders, who, as we approach the end of the first hour, there's only 6/10 of a second in it. The pressure is on big time. Big moment there for Flycom as the French team loses ground. Yellow flags, so no overtaking at turn 3. Drivers have got to continue their... Oh! Now, hang on a minute. That's the number 6. Having got through past the number 3, you could argue potentially under yellow flags. Now, where was the green flag flying when they made that move? Now, that is fascinating because the yellow flag is out at turn 3 because of repairs to the barrier. The gap has opened up to 1.9. They might get a warning for that. So we'll have to double check and see how the phase of proceedings is between those 2, as up the inside goes Chargemaster to put a lap on the French team Flycom, and the 7 team is in there as well. That's Ice 2 as they're there in 5th position coming across the line. There's the race leader, Rich Martel, diving up the inside of Go Compare 1 very late in as he goes past Liam Roberts there. Yellow flags, no overtaking. I have a feeling actually the green flag may have been on the exit of the corner, so from their point of view I think they'll get away with that one. But that was very close indeed. So here comes the mixed bag trying to get a lap on Go Compare 1. Go Compare 1 getting out of the way and allowing mixed bag the chance to go through. How amazing has this race suddenly become as they change positions on a dial. Chris Davies for the mixed bag team, they're in 2nd position, having to play catch up after losing the lead after colliding with a back marker. So this race has suddenly turned on his head. Now, according to what I've got in front of me, the drivers in the karts at the moment look like this. That man, Rich Martel, is still leading the way for the number 6. It looks like Flycom has been given a warning, so Florian Polino has got himself a warning there for, I'm guessing, for contact. I didn't see what it was for, to be honest, but the Go Compare karts have Liam Roberts and Luis Aguar in the kart at the moment. Floy Polino is there in the Flycom kart in 3rd position. Chris Davies in at mixed bag. It's Will Pipe who's driving for Piston Broke at the moment. Change of driver in the pits by the look of it. Oh no, sorry, that is the marshal who has been out on the circuit in a spare kart to repair the barriers. So that's what is going on there. But it does look like there's a driver who's getting ready for a pit stop. So we'll keep an eye on that. The number 6 kart, the Ice Machine, is obviously Rich Martel, who leads the way. The number 7 kart, which is Ice 2, has Eamon in the kart at the moment. I don't know his surname, unfortunately. Nobody's told it to me. As Ice makes a pit stop. Now, this is the first fuel stop, and it's Ice who have come in pretty much bang on the hour mark. Chargemaster in as well. So this is the refueling stop for Ice. The race leaders come in for a refueling stop. Now this is going to be a critical one because obviously they have to come away from the kart. Rich Martel's done a great work to get the team into the lead as there's a little bit of a battle going on track as well. That is the 9 and 10 battling away. That is Contour trying to get on terms with Ben Rutt. Now the leaders are going back out onto the circuit, having made their pit stop. They will resume in 2nd place. 35 seconds back. Now, this is going to be critical. How fast can the mixed bag team do the same refueling stop? They obviously have to let the mechanics do the refueling, which will take the same amount of time for everybody. But how fast can they make their driver change happen in the space of it? And are they going to do it straight away, or are they going to leave Chris Davies out there just a little bit longer to try and get the undercut? Chargemaster and Curve are in the pits at the moment. Chargemaster leave the pits, and they drop to 4th position. That is as to be expected because Contour has not yet made their their second pit stop. So there are the former race leaders, Team Ice, and they're struggling to lap Ice 2, their teammates. This is not good. They need to get that car out of the way in the hope that they're not going to lose the lead here. This is a big thorn in the side of the leading team originally. They've got to get past their sister car. They cannot afford to spend time sat behind them. Dives up the inside line, takes the lead on the road. So that's a perfect moment. And to be fair, that has cost them time. What are they doing racing with their sister car? This is hampering the chances of the number 6 to take the lead of the race. They're holding up their teammates. This is not good. So the number 6 car is losing time, hand over fist to the race leaders with the pit stop imminent. This could change the phase of the race again. Diving up the inside of the sister car, can't get through. This is appalling luck for the Ice team. Their sister car, the Ice 2 machine, number 7, is holding them up. It's mutiny at the Ice team at the moment. The team will be waving frantically to the 17. Get out of the way! But there's nothing they could do about it at the moment. These guys are racing, and look how much time the Ice team is losing as a result. Dives back up the inside. Maybe this time the move's going to stick. No, they're going to race each other. My word, this really is a kart fight. Big tank snapper from the 7, and I think that's done and dusted, but that's cost them 6 seconds fighting with the sister car. That is a big moment in this race, and sadly, for the Ice team in 2nd position, that could cost them the lead of the race through the pit stop phase. Now, if I was mixed bag, I would pit now because they've obviously lost a good 6 seconds, their rivals. So this might be the perfect opportunity when they've lost time to get back onto the circuit in front of their rivals to exacerbate the damage. They might be able to get the undercut based on the fact that their main rivals have lost time to their sister cart. So this is about the best moment that the mixed bag team could possibly call to make their driver change and fuel stop. But it's a big moment for the Ice team as their sister cart plays the mutiny card and holds them up for nearly a lap and a half and costs them 6 seconds. Now the mixed bag team are in the pits. Right, this is for the lead of the race. So mixed bag are in the pits. Where is the number 6 cart on the road? Trying to look out for them at the moment as there's a good jostle between Contour and Flightcom at the moment as they are wheel to wheel, rubbing bumpers. There is the 6 coming through the bottom of the hill. We need to keep an eye on the pit stop. And the driver's rushing to it. This is going to be very, very close indeed. Driver's going to get out of the pits. And here comes the 6 out of the Garda, up Damon Hill. They're going to take the lead. The mixed bag have done it. Mixed bag have got the lead back. Wow. I have a feeling there's going to be some stern words within the Ice fold tonight. I think Ice 7 are going to buy all the drinks because that is definitely a big mistake as far as the team is concerned. Contour are now in the pits, so surely the 8 team is going to get back into that 3rd position slot. We'll find out as they come across the line. Have Chargemaster come through? In fact, I think Contour have made a pit stop without refueling. I'm fairly sure Contour made a driver change on the other side of the pit lane. Now, they needed to wait, obviously, because there was a team in there refueling anyway. I think they're going to have to make 2 pit stops because Contour have basically changed driver and come out onto the circuit in front of Chargemaster to the tune of 13 seconds, but they didn't refuel. So that's a big moment in the race again for Contour. I think they're going to lose a lot more time by not refueling now. They're going to have to come back in fairly rapidly and make a fuel stop. So this is getting to be a very interesting race. 56 minutes to go in the encounter, and we have still got a long way to go. But clearly the race battle is going to go down to the wire because there are still teams making some very interesting mistakes in the way this race is going. And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. The agony of this race is coming on strong, but the mixed bag having taken the lead, they are vulnerable because their driver out there now who is no longer Chris Davies. I'm not sure who it is, but they haven't updated the driver list yet. But the mixed bag is losing time to the Ice team. So the Ice team is catching them at the moment. Although that last lap wasn't a great one, the gap opens up again to 6.5. So the Ice team is starting to make inroads into the race leaders. The gap was a good 8 seconds after that pit stop. Now it's down to 6.5. So the Ice team are catching. This is going to be a very interesting race. It keeps growing, it keeps building, and the battle is going strong. So let's see how this continues on for the mixed bag. Can they make it all the way to the victory, or are the Ice team going to give them a bit more pressure? There is the Ice team, still pushing hard. Mixed bag is coming up Damon Hill now and through the final turn. So let's see what the number 4 is doing. It's Satch Kakardia apparently in the number 6 kart now. So Satch Kakardia has got into the kart. There is the number 4 with Ollie Flange in the kart at the moment. So Ollie is there in the kart in number 4, leading the way. The gap is 6.7. So Satch Kakardia is working very hard to close down the gap, but it's about 0.2 of a second a lap difference between these two karts at the front end. So the mixed bag still leads the way, 6.7 seconds in front of the Ice team. Then it's Contour in third, although I'm fairly sure they still need to refuel. They've made a second mandatory pit stop, but they haven't refueled the car. I wonder if they're going to leave their fuel stop until the third and final change. I'm not sure there's enough fuel in the car to do that. So we'll have to find out. But they may decide to leave their fuel stop till the third and final pit stop and just do a quick splash and dash. But I'm not sure how much fuel is in the karts to allow them to be able to do that. It's going to be very interesting to see how it all runs together. That's the number 2 kart going through. That's the Go Compare squad. But here's the race leader, still having to deal with traffic as the Go Compare 2 kart spins behind them. Up the inside of Piston Broke goes the race leader's mixed bag. So they knit their way up the inside. They're getting away to the tune of 0.2 of a second per lap, which is not much, actually. The Ice team still very much in contention for the victory because the mixed bag team are only gaining 0.2 of a second per lap at best at the moment, and they are still struggling for track position. There's Will Pipe in the Piston Broke kart behind them, and he's running around behind the race leader now just to gain a little bit of momentum. But this race is still very much game on indeed between these two teams up at the front. Contour is a lap down in third position, but I'm fairly sure they still need to fuel. Chargemaster a 4th, Piston Broke a 5th, Ice 2 a 6th, then it's Ben Rutt, Flycom who are 3 laps adrift, then it's Curve and the Go Compare karts in 10th and 11th. So some fantastic racing at the moment, and a really interesting battle in the mid-pack. From 4th down to 7th, it's all very even because Chargemaster are 10 seconds behind Contour, Piston Broke are 10 seconds behind Chargemaster, 17 seconds back from them are Ice 2, Ben Rutt are 15 seconds behind them, so that's 5 karts still in the battle for third position. It's going to be incredibly close between those 5 teams as to which one gets on the podium, and I think it's all going to come down to the fuel strategy of Contour because they haven't fueled, they've changed driver, but they've got into third position based on the fact they didn't fuel at the last stop. Now if the kart can go to 90 minutes, and then they can make their fuel stop, that could buy them track position for the moment, but it's definitely going to cost them big style at the rate that Piston Broke is gaining on them. So Piston Broke and Ice 2 are definitely gaining ground. They've got fast drivers out there at the moment, so I think when Contour makes their fuel stop, Chargemaster's going to get back into third place, and Piston Broke's going to jump them. They're going to move into 4th place. So this is a very close battle, but the question is, can Contour get out of that fueling stop in 5th position? That's the only way, really, they're going to have a competitive chance to get back into a podium finish. They need to be in that top 5 in the closing stages. Now, Ice are still losing about 0.2 of a second per lap, but this is still very achievable. Look at how they got the lead last time. There was a mistake from the race leaders as they tripped over traffic, and Rich Martel was able to get the lead with a nice bit of driving to avoid the carnage up at Garda. That's how they took the lead initially. They're still only 7.3 seconds back, losing only 0.2 of a second per lap. So this is great work from Satch Kakardia, who is able to stay with Ollie Flange at the front of the field to the tune of only 0.2 of a second per lap. So it's still very even. We've had a moment there at the bottom of the hill. That's Simon Lane now in the 8th kart. So Simon Lane has taken over the Chargemaster kart at the last pit stop. And we're told that it's Owen who's in the Ben Rutt car. And it's Arthur who's in at curve at the moment. Jim Smith, by the way, has got into the Go Compare 2 kart. So Jim Smith has taken over there. I think it's Pete Nixie who's back in the Ice 2 kart again as well. So a good bit of driver changing going on there in the last phase of the pit stops. But at the moment, the mixed bag leads the way by 7.3 seconds. Make that 7.8 because they've actually had a stronger lap than the Ice team that last time by, who clearly got impeded at one of the corners in the traffic. But now there's going to be an interesting one. Now there's a curb warning there for Contour, who have been warned there. Now that we're at the phase of the race where basically the teams have all had a bit of a warning for something. Any more warnings at this point, and there's potentially going to be penalties handed out at this point in the race. As up the inside goes Flightcom to lap the Go Compare 2 squad. They managed to get themselves back into a fairly decent position, actually, the French team. They're now up to 8th position with Florian Pollionneau in 8th position at the moment in that kart. Still trying to make up 3 laps on the Ben Rutt team. But there's the race leaders. Mixed bag, having just lapped curve for what I think is now going to be the 4th time I think they've lapped them. So a good battle going on here at the front of the field with the mixed bag still trying to gain time over the leaders, or over second place, sorry, although Ice did gain some ground in that last lap. 7.7 is now the gap, so it's all getting very close indeed. The mixed bag leading the way. Ice in second place, third is Contour, fourth place Chargemaster. The gap is only 8.7 between those two teams, and this is actually going to turn into a critical mistake, I think, for Contour, who were there in third position, but I'm fairly sure they didn't fuel at their last stop, but they are losing time at this point in proceedings to Chargemaster, and they're only 9 seconds ahead of them, so they've got to make their fueling stop. Chargemaster have already made their fueling stop, so Contour are basically trying desperately not to lose too much time. If I were them, I would pit now, because you're only going to lose 2 places behind Chargemaster and Piston Broke. You certainly don't want to lose too much time and go down behind Ice 2. So if I was Contour, I'd try and take the bait. And if they're only going to make 1 more pit stop, then they should try and put out somebody who can go as far into the race as possible. The only difficulty they've got now is that if they pit now, they've got 48.5 minutes to run. So they're going to hope that that person is going to be able to stay out there for 48.5 minutes, and that's difficult. So I don't think this is one of those races where Contour have got themselves into third position with a clever strategy, but I think it's going to backfire on them ultimately, because they've got to make up more time, and the fuel stop, then we've got time to make up. So the mixed bag has been able to use the traffic to get further ahead on that last lap. They gained nearly a full second on Team Ice, who got held up big time on that last tour around. This time by, the gap is 8.9 seconds, so they've made up a little bit more. But the mixed bag is now getting held up here by Ben Rutt, and being held up big style. So this is a big problem for Ollie Flange, trying to lap the number 10 Ben Rutt car. And Ben Rutt, currently with Owen at the wheel, diving up the inside. Careful! Goodness me! And not helping out the leaders at all. So this is a big problem for the race leaders, trying to get through the traffic. They're obviously trying to be as forceful as they can without taking the rulebook into their own hands. But this is a major problem, because if they can't get through, then Ice is going to gain big time. So if I'm the Ice team, I'm going to step up the gas a little bit more as we go into lap 85. That cost the mixed bag team 3 seconds. So the gap is down to 6 seconds for the race lead. This is a critical point in the race for our race leaders. They have now dealt with that traffic, but they can't afford to have that happen too many more times in this race, because the Ice team can catch them straight back again. The pressure is really heating up at Ollie Flange at the moment in the number 4 car in the lead of the race, because this is now starting to look like the mixed bags race to lose. If they make 1 more error, then they are going to have a massive pressure cooker from the Ice team behind them. So there is the number 4, the mixed bag team. We look back and see, where is the 6? Wait for it. They are going to come through that hairpin now at the bottom end of the hill. So we've got 3 carts in front. There they are. So the gap is not that much at all between the mixed bag and Team Ice. The leaders come across the line, and into lap 86. We see where the Ice team is, and the gap is down to 5.3. They made another 0.7 of a second in that lap. But the problem that the Ice team have got is they've got these 4 carts in their way, squabbling away. Well, if they can get through without too much problem, they're going to get rid of one of them at least, and they have done. So the number 2 swearing and blinding, goodness me, there at the far side of the circuit. Clearly not happy with Flycom, who they were in that battle with. gesticulating like crazy up at turn 3. But that was not quite what they wanted out of that one. So now we've got a battle further up the road. This is Ben Rutt and Piston Broke. Up the inside comes Piston Broke. Oh, goodness me, drifting in unison as neither is prepared to give best. Meanwhile, the number 1 kart, the Go Compare 1 team, is about to be lapped by our second place kart as they come across the line now, further back. And the gap has opened up to 6.8 seconds as a result of ice trying to get out of the way. So basically, the time that the mixed bag team lost is now being lost by their opponents for exactly the same problems. So it looks like that gap is going to go back out. Black flag. Black flag has been handed to the Go Compare team. So Go Compare 1 is going to get a black flag. Now that means they're going to have to come into the pits and stop their driver. And I think that means they're going to have to make a driver change. So that's going to be a big problem for Go Compare. That's really going to hamper their strategy as they try and catch up with Curve. But a big problem, unfortunately, on that particular occasion for the Go Curve team. For Go Compare 1, they're going to have to stop their driver and come into the pits for a black flag penalty. And that means they're going to need to change driver. So the Go Compare team will now receive that black flag on the main straight. And they'll have to come straight back into the pits and change driver. There's a warning for Piston Broke, the number 5. They're in 5th position. Now, problems continuing at Contour because the gap between them and Chargemaster is down to just 5.8 seconds as Ice is really struggling to lap the 5 of Piston Broke. The gap has opened up to 7.3 seconds again, and Ice are really struggling now to lap the traffic in exactly the same way the leaders were. So a bit of a sigh of relief for the mixed bag because now they're out on the track on their own. But these two karts are still battling away for position, but the second place kart is behind them trying to come through, and he's going to be very impatient there. Get out of the way. He's going to try and lap them both on the far side. The 6 gets himself on the inside line there of the 10 of Ben Rutt. That was very physical. That really did put the fight in Kart Fight. He's trying to come back up the inside, but Ice has managed to hang on to this one. Good bit of driving there from Sach Kakardia. So Sach Kakardia puts the number 6 kart solidly back into that track position once again. But the mixed bag team get away with that one, and the gap was what it was before the traffic started to cause them an issue. So from their point of view, at least it caused the same amount of problems. But the race lead is still only 9 seconds of disparity. Now, the big problem is they've got Piston Broke in front of them, who are a pretty quick kart, being held up a little here by the Flycom team. They're trying to get through and lap them. Get out of the way as they come back up the hill. They are getting very impatient here. And now it looks like the pendulum is swinging back in the favour of the mixed bag team. So this is definitely not what they had in mind. A really tricky start to proceedings. So this is a big problem. I was going to say, before that battle really interrupted me, that the Contour team are still in difficulties here with their driver in 3rd position, Roger Holmes, still pounding laps around the circuit as the Ice team finally get past Piston Broke, but have not yet managed to get past Flycom, and they're still losing time hand over fist to the leaders. I was going to say the Contour team are losing time rapidly to the Chargemaster team behind them as well, with Simon Lane at the wheel of the kart. The problem they've got at the moment, as a big tank slapper from Piston Broke causes a little bit of difficulty, and now Ice finally gets past Flycom, although the French team are trying desperately to fight back. Roger Holmes in the Contour car is losing time hand over fist to the Chargemaster team as they struggle for position. Oh, and the Curve team has lost it at the bottom of the hill up towards Damon Hill. So Curve has lost it, the 11, hands in the air. What on earth did I do that for? Doesn't really make much difference at this point, as the Go Compare karts are struggling. Now, Ben Rutt is in the pits. Now, there's 40 minutes left of the race. So, can they make it to the end of the race without another pit stop? So, that's going to be an interesting question to ask. Can their driver stay out there effectively for the remainder of the race so they don't have to make another pit stop? I'm not sure, because 41 minutes is a long time to stay out on this particular circuit. I would not be surprised if they had to make an additional pit stop before the end of this race. But the Ben Rutt team, who were running 7th place, this is basically an insurance policy to keep them in a decent position. They go out onto the circuit once again. So where are our leaders at the moment? Well, the mixed bag are still there in the lead of the race. 2nd place is Ice. 3rd is Contour. but Contour are only 1.8 seconds now ahead of Chargemaster. They've clearly had an off on that last lap, and now the Chargemaster team are right behind them, so leaving their fuel stop till the bitter end has not really helped out Contour at all, because they've now got Chargemaster only about 2 seconds behind them on the road. They're currently being held up in their run for third position by the Go Compare 1 team. Look back, there is the 8. That's the battle for third position, and it is the closest battle on track at the moment. There's the Contour team, number 9. In third place, the kart behind them is the 8. 2.1 seconds is the gap between them, but Contour have not refueled yet. They've made their second mandatory stop, but they haven't refueled. Chargemaster have not only made their second mandatory pit stop, but they have refueled. So Contour is going to be the only team, I think, to leave their refueling stop until the third and final pit stop. But their difficulty is they're going to lose a lot of time doing that. As Piston Broke comes into the pits, they're a lap down from this battle. So, again, if I was Contour, I'd be trying to calculate when is going to be the best time to come into the pits. We've got 40 minutes left of the race. Most drivers can only really stay out there for 30 minutes maximum, but they've obviously got to make a pit stop sooner rather than later to counteract the Piston Broke pit stop. So this is a big difficulty strategically for the Contour team, because they're going to lose third position whatever happens. But how much time will they lose? That's going to be the big problem here. Now, Contour can obviously try and say, well, we don't need to make a refueling stop, but if they don't, then they're going to run out of fuel. There's not enough fuel to go the 2 hours. So no matter how well they drive, they're not going to be able to get to the end of the race on their current fuel load. So that's going to be a big difficulty in the long term. So Contour still leading this charge for third position as they go down the hill. A big slide from the fourth place team Chargemaster with their man Simon Lane at the wheel, trying to chase after Roger Holmes. So the battle continues on as they come back into position once again. There is the Contour team. There's the Chargemaster team currently trying to lap Go Compare 1. So the gap is going to open up a little bit here, but not enough really for Contour to be safe in position. And there come the leaders, the mixed bag team, trying to get up the inside of the team in fourth position. Now this could help out Contour, because if they hold up the number 8 kart as the mixed bag team tries to get through, then that could really benefit as they run wide and the mixed bag team get through past them on the road anyway. So that's definitely helped out a little bit. But the mixed bag team is still a good 9.6 seconds ahead of our race leaders. So the victory is still very much on as we go into lap 95. And we're going to go way past the century in this race. The battle continues as the drivers are still trying to get the maximum out of these karts as the time continues to tick down. 38 minutes left here at Buckmore Park for the 2018 Kart Fight. And as they come over the line once again, the race leaders, the mixed bag is going to go into lap 96 with a good cushion at the moment over the team in second place, 9.6 seconds. But this race is definitely not over yet. If anything, this is when the race is really going to get started. They always say in endurance racing, you've basically got to wait till 75% of the race is done. Whoever's in contention at that point, that's who's going to be fighting for the victory. And we've got a nice spread of karts in the battle at the moment as the Ben Rutt team are trying to get on the inside of the Go Compare squad number 2 to put a lap on them. They've done so there through turn 3. And we're getting towards the end of the century, as it were. We're on lap 96 out of 100. Up the hill comes the battle for third position once again. That is the 9 and the 8 together. That's Contour and Chargemaster over the start-finish line. And in between them is the overall race leader. You can just see them in the background there. The mixed bag team, number 4, have already come across the line. The gap has opened up between them and Ice to 10.5 seconds, by the way. Although as Ice come across the line this time, I think it's going to go up again. It does, to 11.5 seconds. So Ice are really struggling in the traffic. They're getting towards that phase of the race where the final mandatory pit stop is going to come in. But can they gain 11.5 seconds in one pit stop? I'm not sure they're going to be able to, really. And that's going to be a big problem for the Ice team, who had a good chance here to overhaul the mixed bag team. But some solid running from Ollie Flange in that phase of the race has definitely bought them a bit of a lifeline. So they're getting back into the mix. And it's certainly starting to brew up a storm now. Quentin Kiffier has got into the Flycom kart, by the way. Just looking at a few more updates to the drivers. It's Tom Scott who's got into the Piston Broke kart of late. And other than that, no major driver changes to report over the last couple of minutes, or certainly not been updated on the list in front of me that I'm aware of. 12.7 is now the gap in the lead of the race. So the mixed bag team still having a good run out front, but the ICE team are there in second place quite solidly. So this is going to be a very interesting part to the race, as we're now going to be in the final phase of proceedings, and there's going to be about 5 minutes before the leaders make their final pit stop. So it's now going to be quite close, but the Contour and Chargemaster teams are very close. Oh, that's the Contour team! Contour team in third position, spinning at Garda. Contour have spun out of third at Garda. They come back up the hill, and the Contour team drop out of third position. Chargemaster take over the place, and Contour down to fourth position. The number one Go Compare team is going to come back into the action, but Roger Holmes has dropped a clanger there at Garda, and that's cost the team third position. A big problem for the team there. So now that basically leaves them quite vulnerable to the team in fifth position, ICE 2, when it comes to their pit stop. So Contour are in some major difficulties now, as Chargemaster are back into third position. They are 2 laps off the lead, so that battle for third position is now going to be basically the best that they can hope for at this point. Chargemaster, Contour, ICE 2, Piston Broke, and effectively Ben Rutt, I think, are all still in the mix, as Flycom has had an incident there with Piston Broke. So they've had a bit of an incident. We're getting to the last phase of the race. The last mandatory pit stop is imminent, as we're on lap 100. There is the race leader, the mixed bag team, as we go into lap 100 now. So Contour is now 3.3 seconds behind Chargemaster. How much time are they going to lose to ICE 2 and Piston Broke when they make their final pit stop, which has got to be the fuel stop? If they don't make the fuel stop this time by, then basically they're going to run out of fuel. That's as simple as it gets with that particular team. So they've decided to leave their refueling stop till last, but if they don't make it, they're going to run out of fuel. So the mixed bag team in the lead of the race, 14.1 seconds ahead of the ICE team. In second place, they're steadily getting away now. Ollie Flange from Sach Kukardia in the team battle. And it's going very well indeed as the mixed bag continues to hang on here in front of ICE. So the team is going very well at this point. And still the battle continues on. 100 laps completed from the mixed bag. The first century. And we're only going to get 1 century in this particular race. So the mixed bag team's still going well. 33 minutes still to go, and the mixed bag team giving a bit of a problem there from Curve. That was close, as Curve caused a bit of a roadblock for the race leaders there. And the ICE team will probably be hoping they cause more problems. The Curve team finally gets out of the way. But that was a bit of a headache for the race leaders. They can't afford too many more of those. As we get closer and closer to that final mandatory pit stop, this is going to get pretty spicy as we get into that phase of the race where things are just going to continue to get exciting from here. And that's a warning for the mixed bag team for contact. They are the ones judged to be the cause of that incident. They cannot afford too many more problems like that. Otherwise, their lead could evaporate. So the mixed bag leads the way. ICE in second place, 14 seconds back. That's how much time it cost the mixed bag team. They lost a good 0.3 of a second dealing with that particular car. That's not a massive amount of time, but it's certainly something for them to think about. They will not have enjoyed that particular headache. So the mixed bag team continuing on in the lead of this race. 14 seconds is the gap for the victory. They are 2 laps, those two, ahead of the rest of the field. Chargemaster in third position in front of Contour. Then it is ICE 2. Piston Broke in 6th place from Ben Rutt, Flycom, and then it is Team Curve from the 2 Go Compare squads, 1 ahead of 2 at the moment. So the mixed bag in the lead of this race. And we got pit stops. Here we go. The last pit stops. It's Chargemaster and ICE 2 who have come in together. Now, Chargemaster, it looks like somebody's coming in for a fuel stop there. I guess that is going to be ICE 2. I think that is ICE 2 having their fuel stop right at the bitter end as well. So they have gained ground by having their fuel stop late as well. But are they going to stay out in front of Piston Broke? I'm not sure they are. So the refueling goes underway for ICE 2. No, Piston Broke have taken 5th place. So Piston Broke move up into 5th position. Contour moves back into 3rd. Oh, and there's contact out on the circuit. Now, who is that that's gone there with the 10? Battling away for position as they are together there. I'm not sure who it was that came off the circuit in that particular moment. It was the 3. It was the Flycom squad. by the look of it. So out of the pits goes the 7 of Ice 2, having made their fuel stop. And we've got another pit stop coming up now, as into the pits goes the Curve team and Go Compare 2. Now that's for driver changes. They both made fuel stops. So the last team that's going to make a fuel stop in this race as the 7 spins around on track, that is Ice 2, having just made a fueling stop. So they have spun in 6th position. The last team that's going to make a fuel stop in this race is going to be Contour, who are in 3rd position. Everybody else has made a fuel stop, as Clementino Pavard has come in and got into the Flycom kart after that last pit stop. Lewis Miller has got back into the Go Compare 1 kart, we are told. So he is out there at the moment with Jim Smith in the Go Compare 2 kart. And we are not quite sure who has got into the 7 kart to replace Sash Kukadia. To replace Pete Nixie in the Ice 2 kart. We're not sure who's taken over the kart for that final stint, but we'll find out soon, I'm sure. But Sash Kukadia is only 13 seconds back from the mixed bag team, so he's gaining ground at a critical point in the race. We're on lap 105. The leaders are still pounding around, but the Ice team is gaining ground on our race leaders. So this is a very interesting phase of the race as the Ice team continues to try and get that gap down. But the leaders are really struggling to get through the traffic at this very critical stage of the race. Into the pits comes the Flycom squad. And it's going to be Clementino Pavard who gets into the kart this time, we're told. So Pavard is going to get into the kart this time and will finish the race, we think, with 29.5 minutes to go. Now, which team is going to blink first of the leading teams for their final mandatory pit stop? This is going to be critical, where we find out who is going to get that final pit stop done and who's going to get there first. Right, Contour are in the pits. Now, surely this is a fuel stop. It's got to be, otherwise they're going to run out of fuel. So let's find out. We go into the pits now and have a look on our little pit camera. Contour should be refueling at this point. If they're not, then they're in major catastrophe. Well, they've come out of the pits. I didn't see them in the fueling bay. So either they've made the fastest fueling stop in history. So we're trying to figure out whether Contour has actually made a fueling stop or not. I've not been told whether they have actually refueled, because Chargemaster have come out pretty much side by side with them as they came out of the pits. And I think Chargemaster has taken over 3rd position. So Contour is out on track. I'm just trying to figure out where they are around the circuit. There's some confusion here because we're not entirely sure whether Contour has made a fueling stop or not. If they haven't made a fuel stop, then they're going to run out of fuel. So we'll double check, but I'm not entirely sure. At the moment, it certainly looks as though the 8 of Chargemaster has gone into 3rd position. Contour are coming back in. Contour are coming back in. They've already made a pit stop, and they're coming back in. So I think they've forgotten. Oh no, they did the fuel stop. Now they're doing their driver change. That's what's happened. So now Contour, I think, are okay. They're back up to where they should be. So they're in 4th position. So I think that's now all fine and dandy. So I think Contour now should be able to go to the end of the race. But by waiting, they have got themselves back up into 4th position. So that is all very well indeed for Contour. They've actually taken advantage of the last mistake for Piston Broke and the late fuel stop for Ice 2. They have done this perfectly. Ice is in the pits first. So Ice is in the pits first. And there's a black flag for Ice 2. Ice 2 have been given a black flag. I'm not sure what that's for, but that now puts them in a real dire jeopardy. Now, Ice have come out of the pits 27.5 seconds back from the leaders, so the mixed bag need to have a perfect pit stop now. And that's a spin from Clementino Pavard in the Flycom machine. That is the 8 of Chargemaster with their driver Roger Holmes, their driver Simon Lane in the kart at the moment. So let's find out what's going to happen to the mixed bag team when they make their final pit stop, and how much further into the race can their man go in the lead, because obviously they've got to time their final pit stop to perfection. Or are they basically just trying to go a little bit further so that their last driver doesn't have so much work to do in the car? That is a critical strategy, and it could pay dividends, because I think that's Rich Martel who's got back into the ice kart. Yes, it is. So Rich Martel has got back into the ice kart. They've only got 3 drivers in the Ice 1 kart. So he's got back into the number 6 kart and is setting off in pursuit of the race leaders. Now, he was the one who got them back into the lead in the first place last time. There's the mixed bag cart coming through the final turn. When are they going to make that final pit stop? Because they're not through yet. 110 lap. This is the 110th lap of the race now. So this is a critical point in the race. Can Rich Martel start to step up the attack on our race leader and start to get the gap down? It was 29.6 seconds at the last count. He's obviously on a quick lap now, but he's got traffic to deal with. In front of him is the Chargemaster cart. Can Rich Martel get himself further up the order? We'll find out what his sort of lap times are at the moment. He's got the gap down by 0.4 of a second already. So Martel in the number 6 car, the ice cart, is definitely catching the leaders. They need to get this done sooner rather than later, because this is going to be a critical moment in the race to get the race leaders. But the ice team are getting held up at the moment behind the 8 of the Chargemaster car. Martel needs to find a way through, and quickly. They're getting held up here, and this could be a race-winning moment for the mixed bag team. If they were to pit now, while the ice are being held up, this could be the moment when they win the race, although the ice team is no longer being held up by the number 8. So the Chargemaster has moved out of the way now. So the ice team has got into track position once again. So now it's up to Rich Martel to really step on it and start to get the gap down. But he did lose a bit of time stuck behind there. Only 0.2 of a second though, mind. Because I think it was a bit of a poor lap, a bit of a scruffy lap from the mixed bag team as well. So their driver does appear to be tiring. This is going to be a critical point in the race now, because they've got to make sure that they bring their driver in at the race lead without losing too much time, without giving their last driver too much to do, as the Curve team spin off there at the bottom end of the hill, and the driver bangs the steering wheel in frustration. I can't believe I've spun it again. But the mixed bag team need to time this right. They've got 29 seconds on the race leaders. They're in. They're into the pits. The mixed bag team are in. So coming out of the pits again, I think. And I think they've done it. So they've got the lead. But the question is, how much of a gap is Rich Martel going to have to make up? Well, watch as he comes across the line. Mixed bag have come in and come out again. What's the gap? 12.9 seconds. They've definitely made up time in the pit stops. But can Rich Martel keep making up time? This is going to be tight. The race leaders have definitely lost time in that last phase of pit stops. They lost a good 3 seconds in total. So Rich Martel is definitely getting on with it. But have they sent out a driver who can keep them in the lead of this race? It's going to be a tough one for the mixed bag team. They had Ollie Flange in that last phase of proceedings, and he did a fantastic job of keeping proceedings very much in control. But there is still 23 minutes of this race still to go. And this is going to be very tough for the mixed bag team to hang on to. They've got a very, very determined driver behind them, pushing all the way. So, can the mixed bag team take the victory here in front of ice? With 23 minutes left of this race, it would seem that this is going to go down to the wire if Rich Martel can keep this pace up. Those are the lap times they're doing at the moment. So when the mixed bag team comes across the line, we'll see what sort of time they're putting in as Rich Martel comes through on that particular lap. Let's see what the gap is going to be as Rich Martel goes down the hill. We'll get the mixed bag cart coming across the line now to see what sort of laps they're putting in. Was that a purple lap time for the mixed bag team? Have they just set the fastest lap of the race? No, their last time was a 53.5. Their best lap of the race, of course, is a 50.021. What is the ice team doing as they come across the line that time? We'll find out. Rich Martel has got the gap down to 10.2. He's now got the gap down to 9.6. This is going to be a showdown. Rich Martel is taking a good 4 to 5/10 of a second per lap off the race leaders. The mixed bag team are in serious jeopardy of losing their race lead here, because Rich Martel is pushing like crazy and the leaders are being caught by half a second a lap. This race is going to go down to the wire. There is Rich Martel going down the hill. The mixed bag team are currently at Garda. Rich Martel up the inside of Team Curve. No problem at all. Rich Martel is decimating this gap in the lead of the race. So just when we thought the race might be won and lost, it's going to be a really, really tough order from this point on. This is going to be such a tight battle for the last 21 minutes of this race. it is going to be absolutely imperative that the mixed bag team do not make a single mistake. The gap is coming down all the time to the ice team in second position. The gap is down to 9.8 seconds. They have upped their pace on that last lap, the mixed bag team, and they've pulled out 0.05 of a second in that last lap. So they need to keep up this tempo. They need to keep it up here because this is imperative now that they get the best out of this final 20.5 minutes of the race. They have got to keep it going. The mixed bag in front of Team Ice. The gap was 9.8 seconds. We'll find out what it is as they come across the line this time by a 51.1 from the mixed bag. Here comes Rich Martel over the line. The gap was 9.8 seconds. He's had clear track in front of him. The gap comes down to 9.7. So again, Rich Martel is closing, but not by as much as he was initially. So they've clearly given him the hurry up. He needs to get on with this now because they've only got 20 minutes left of the race, and the battle is very close indeed. Meanwhile, for third position, it is pretty close too because we've got that kart there, the Contour team, decimating the gap to third position. They are in fourth place, Team Contour, with their man Roger Holmes, apparently I think it is, in the kart, chasing after Cam Lane in the Chargemaster kart in third position. I don't think that is Roger Holmes actually in the Contour kart. We'll find out who it is very soon, I'm sure, as we get into the final phase of this race. But what an absolutely spectacular battle this is going to be. It'll be a bit of a showdown for the victory and for third position. So we're going to get two battles hopefully going down to the wire here, as the Contour team trying to make up progress on the Chargemaster team are currently being held up by the Piston Broke team, who are one place behind them. So Piston Broke are in fifth place, Contour are in fourth, and they're trying to lap Piston Broke in their battle for fifth position. The lights come on here down in the paddock, as we are starting to lose the light pretty rapidly now. 19 minutes to go. It won't get dark completely before the end of the race. Ice have made up a second now on the mixed bag. The gap is down to 8.7 seconds. 8.7 seconds is now the gap. This is getting very, very tight. Yellow flags up at turn 3. I'm not sure who for, but we had a spin there at that point of the race. Now, there's the mixed bag. Let's look back. There's Rich Martel. What is the gap as he comes across the line? It's 8.1. Goodness me, he's absolutely destroying this gap. Have they pushed it too hard, the mixed bag? Has he got anything left in the tank? Because he's really starting to lose ground now to Rich Martel, who's getting into the rhythm, but he's still got 18.5 minutes to try and get this gap down. This is going to be such a tough battle, and he knows it. He's really got to up the tempo. So this is where things are going to start getting critical. The mixed bag leading the way from Ice in second position. These are the sort of lap times they're doing at the moment. 0.6 of a second is the difference. Fastest kart on track is Ice without any problems at all. They're going a good half a second to 0.6 of a second faster than the mixed bag team. There's the leader across the line. There's Rich Martel. You can see visibly that that gap is coming down. 8.1 down to 7 seconds. Oh my goodness. This is going to be a showdown as the curve kart has gone off at Garda. But now the mixed bag cannot afford traffic. The one thing they cannot avoid, they cannot deal with at this point is traffic. Fortunately for the mixed bag team, they have got a clear track in front of them, but they've also got clear track behind them, and the next kart along is Rich Martel in the ice kart. So this race is going to go down to a showdown right to the final lap of the race. And it looks like it's going to go similarly for the third place kart as well, because the Contour team are now catching up with Chargemaster for third place. Their gap is down to 9.9 seconds. So let's have a look over the line. There's the mixed bag kart. Look back. The ice kart is going to be gaining lots of ground as the laps come down. Again, they've made up time quite clearly there as they come across the line. It's only 1/10 of a second, but they are gaining time rapidly. And it's very much come on and get on with it for the mixed bag team. They need good laps from here on in because the ice team has cut that lead in half over the last 10 minutes. And still the race goes on. Still the battle intensifies. Still, this is going to go down to the wire. The mixed bag got a good lap in that time. A 50.793 was their last lap compared to a 50.664. In terms of the fastest laps of the race, the mixed bag team has definitely been the faster time, but at the present moment, those are the lap times they're doing. So these two karts are very even out in front. Chargemaster's had a horrible lap that last time by, a 58.8. on the last time around. So I'm not sure what's happened to Chargemaster, but I would not be surprised if Contour is now right with. Indeed, they are up at Garda. We've got Chargemaster and Contour just 2 seconds apart, and they are battling for third place. The lead is down to 5.7. Absolutely amazing. First position is up for grabs. Third position is up for grabs. And both battles are going to go down to the wire here in Kartfight 2018. Absolutely amazing. So we are looking at the final few drivers, and no wonder Contour is charging after Cam Lane, because they put James Townsend in the car for the last stint, and he's making absolute headways here. There is Rich Martel. The gap is down to 5.7 seconds. The leader for the mixed bag team goes through the final turn. There is Rich Martel. He's going to get impeded by the French team as they come up the hill. Flycom have got Camille Donnell in the kart at the moment, and that has held him up to the tune of, well, he's still gained 0.2 of a second on that lap, but the Flycom team need to get out of the way quickly here for Rich Martel to get through. And Contour are now through into third position. So Contour are right on the back of third position. Over the start-finish line they're going to come now as Rich Martel is still battling with Flycom. There's the battle for third position, 0.6 of a second in it. So I think the third place battle is going to change before the lead does. But we'll keep an eye on the lead battle as well, because third position is going to go down to the wire as things currently stand at the moment as well. This is going to be tight for the third step of the podium. Here comes James Townsend on the back of Cam Lane as they race away. Contour versus Chargemaster for third position. Chargemaster holding on to it for the moment. Less than a second between them as they come down the hill through the left-hand sweep and into the right-hander. James Townsend's right on the back now. Surely a charge for third position is going to happen anytime soon. He's waiting for his moment. He's got time. He's got 14.5 minutes to do something about this. There's still plenty of time. He doesn't want to rush this as into the pits comes the Flycom kart. But here they come. The battle for third position is very tight. Chargemaster in front of Contour, just 0.3 of a second in it as they come through that double right-hand apex. Chargemaster making a mistake on the way through the second part at Henry's Bend and up to the hairpin. They are feeling the pressure big time. Contour's going to try and make the move. James Townsend's looking for a way on the inside line. Cam Lane chops across, not coming through there. And now they've got the Flycom kart in front of them that's just had a driver change, and he's getting up to speed. They're going to go around the far side. Contour's going to try and get up the inside. The back end steps out. He manages to save it from a spin. That was a critical moment in the race there. That could have been pear-shaped for any one of them. And somehow James Townsend and Cam Lane avoid the danger there. So now they're back into the action up the inside. Is this going to be the move for the position? No, it's not. Contour being shoved sideways by Cam Lane as they hold on to the battle. The kart fight really begins in the final 15 minutes of this race as Contour tries to get one over on the Chargemaster team. Now they're up the inside through Henry's Bend, up towards 3. Surely this is the moment. Yes, it is. Through into third position for Contour. Brilliant racing. But can Chargemaster come back? Brilliant racing. James Townsend has been working up to this for a few laps now, and there is the moment. He goes up into third position past Cam Lane, but have they got any more in the tank? A big charge forward. Oh, a big mistake, unfortunately, for Chargemaster, trying to get back on terms with Contour. Just left the inside line braking too heavy, and that's given Contour a bit of a break. The gap for the lead, meanwhile, is down to 5.2. So Rich Martel is still gaining ground on the leaders. The mixed bag team are not far away from getting the job done here. 5.2 seconds is the gap. The mixed bag still leading the way, but there's not much in it at all. There is Rich Martel in second position, still laying the groundwork to get after the race leaders. With the Curve team in front of them, he needs to time this right. He's up and over the curbs and squeezed by Curve. He is squeezed there at the wrong moment. Now he's going to lose time, surely, to the mixed bag team on this lap. Yes, he loses a 10th, but there's still time. 12 minutes to go. There is still time for this lead to change. So Rich Martel in the ICE team still pushing hard. Out in front, the race leader. No longer Ollie Flange in the kart, I don't think. I'm not sure who it is in the mixed bag team at the moment. But it certainly was Ollie Flange in the last phase. I'm not sure who it is in the kart at the moment on lap 126. But now he's being impeded. Big star by the 7 of Ice 2, who finally gets out of the way. But that's a critical moment again for the race leaders as they get held up with this guy, Rich Martel, closing up the gap. So the mixed bag are going to try and hang on to this for as long as they possibly can. But Rich Martel is eating away at the gap. Here come the leaders over the line once more. The mixed bag coming through in first position. I can't quite read whose name that is on the back of the helmet, unfortunately. I'll be able to tell you exactly who it is. But the gap is down again to 4.6. 4.6 is the gap as the leaders come through once again. Kart number 4 still out in the lead, the mixed bag, but they are losing time hand over fist to Team Ice, who are getting the gap down to 4.6. It looks like the Kart Fight really is going to go down to the wire here at Buckmore Park. They drop down the hill. Good battling and good tussling all the way around the circuit as the 5 piston broke, got squeezed a little bit there. But there's the mixed bag. There is Martel. You can see him there in the background. The gap has come right down, and it's still going down. Ice 2 are the next ones on the road for Rich Martel to deal with. The mixed bag has got 2 karts in front of it now. Just looking at the how much time there is left. Also keeping an eye on the gap as well, because the gap is coming down, and again it comes down, this time to 4.2. They're aware that they're losing time, but there's nothing they can do about it. He's pushing as hard as he can to keep the lead of this race here, the mixed bag driver. So he's still there in the lead of the race. But for how much longer? Because Rich Martel is chipping away at this left, right and centre. Meanwhile, the Chargemaster team are staying within about 2 seconds of Contour, so third position could still change again if James Townsend loses any ground. But here comes the leader, about to be impeded potentially by Gokabert 2 as they come up to Garda. Dives up the inside. Gokabert 2 is showing some resistance. And through goes the mixed bag, because there is the 2 karts behind. Number 7 is Ice 2, trying to get out of the way of the sister kart. Now, for goodness sake, Ice, you need to talk to your drivers at this point, because the Ice kart is closing up. The gap is down to 3 seconds, and the Ice kart is right on the back of the Ice 2 kart. Never before have you needed team orders. Now they've swapped positions behind the race leader, who's being held up big style by Piston Broke. The Ice team have communicated beautifully. They've got their karts swapped around in position. So Ice are on the prowl. Mixed bag are charging forward, trying to get out of the way of this traffic. And that is why, because right at the back of this queue, there is the second place kart, the Ice number 6, trying to dive up the inside and deal with these back markers. How many has he done? There's a spin, and somehow he's got away with it. Rich Martel has dodged it all. Gokabert 2 carries on. And that's the next car for them to lap. There's the mixed bag team, and you can see that the gap's getting smaller and smaller and smaller, down to 2.2 seconds. This is going to go all the way to the finish line. And still they battle. 8.5 minutes to go. Will the lead change? Up the inside goes the Ice team to lap the number 2 Gokabert kart. So through they come. They are now even together in position. The gap down to 2.2 seconds. Rich Martel consistently going a second a lap quicker than the number 4. But they've both got clear track to deal with now. No traffic for the moment. Who's going to get there? 8 minutes left. This race is going down to the finish line. Exactly how we wanted it to. You couldn't have scripted this any better if you tried. Over the line, the mixed bag kart comes through. Rich Martel in the car behind. 1.7 is now the gap. This is going all the way to the line. How is this going to fare? 1.7 seconds is now the gap. So tight, so tense, all the way to the finish. There's a yellow flag further up the road as well. That's at the final turn. So there's been an incident at the final corner. Somebody has spun it and got going again. Hopefully that won't put these guys off too badly. But it's so close. The mixed bag pushing very hard indeed. We've still got yellow flags on the start-finish line. I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but we've had something happen on the start-finish line. And these leaders coming up to it, still chasing each other down, are about to approach it. Yellow flags still as they come through. Now, what is the incident? There's damage to the barrier at the final turn. That's what it is. So the marshals are out there doing some repair work to the barriers. 0.3 of a second made up again there. This is the battle for the victory after an hour and 54 minutes. These two are just 1.4 seconds apart. And this is for the victory in Kart Fight 2018. Oh, guys. You wanted to watch Croatia versus England, but this is going to be just as nail-biting. Right to the finish. These two teams are scrabbling. 1.4 seconds. One team's going to get the victory here. One is going to come oh so close. And now they come out of the final turn, and I think the gap is down to a second as they come through this time by. 1 and 2. 6 minutes left. Across the line, the gap is just 1 second. 1 second between the two of them after an hour and 54 minutes. The last 6 minutes will decide the winners of Kart Fight 2018. And they are nose to tail at the moment. They've got more traffic to deal with in front of them as well. This is going to be a critical moment. Now, if I'm Rich Martel, patience is the key. He doesn't want to do anything silly early because he's got plenty of time here to deal with the mixed bag. He needs to let the number 4 deal with the traffic first. He doesn't want to just chuck it up the inside and hope. He's got to time this right. If he can get on the terms of Go Compare 1, he might even be able to sprint up the inside of him. But he's right on the back of the 4. He knows that that's the kart they're trying to beat. He knows that this is for the race win. And now they are nose to tail. It's definitely less than a second now. And he looks back. Mixed bag looks back. He sees that the kart is just 0.4 of a second in it. But whatever you do, don't look back. That's an invitation to the kart behind to go for the overtake. 5 minutes to go. And now it's going to be oh so close between these two karts. A big tank snapper ride for the mixed bag who's trying to defend. Is swarming around all over the place trying to keep the number 6 ice kart back. But you don't want to defend too early. They've got traffic in front of them. Here comes Rich Martel trying to dive up the inside of the number 4. Is he going to get there? No, he's not going to dive at the inside. A mistake for the mixed bag, and up the inside takes the lead. Brilliant move from the ice to get up the inside there at the bottom end of the circuit. And it's a lead change, but they have got traffic to deal with. It's not over yet. Brilliant racing, but they've still got to negotiate this traffic. Go Compare 1's having a brilliant fight with Curve, and these two karts could cause a real problem. Mixed bag coming straight back up the inside. Here we go for the race lead again, and the lead changes twice in half a lap. Back up the inside comes Ice. They're trying not to trip over these two karts who are right in the mix. Mixed bag goes up the inside. There's a spin mid-corner as Go Compare 1 loses the kart. And it's back to where we were a lap ago. The Ice team coming back into it. This race ain't over yet, folks. Hang on to something because we're about to get into the best phase of the race. 4 minutes to go, and there's a showdown between these two teams, and it could go either way. Still, Ice is on the back of the mixed bag. He's not able to find a way through at that part of the course this time. And the mixed bag team not going to make the same mistake twice. Back onto the main straight they come. And the mixed bag back into the lead of this race. Ice there in second position, swarming through that first couple of corners. A bit of a drift wide from mixed bag. Ice tries to get on the inside, defending to the inside. Ice is going to throw it back up the inside. Mixed bag defends beautifully through 3. We have got 3 minutes and 15 seconds of this to put up with, and Mixed Bag is swarming everywhere. He looks left, he looks right. Where's he going? The ball is definitely in Ice's court right now. They just need to be patient. Yellow flag down the hill. Withdrawn quickly. Whoever it was that spun has now gone from the scene of the accident. And as they come back up towards Garda, this is going to be a close fight for Ice, who have made up so much ground. The Mixed Bag is right there in the lead of the race. Off the turn, up Damon Hill, through the left sweep, back on the curbs to cross the line. Still absolutely nothing in it in this race. 2.5 minutes remain, and this is going to be so tight, down to the wire. Can they make this happen? This is going to be so tight. We're going to run out of opportunities. It's up the inside of Flycom. Mixed Bag gets there, and number 6 is going to get held up. Ice is going to get held up at the wrong moment. They've got to find a way past Flycom. Now they have. But that's a critical moment in this race. They've lost a couple of kart lengths trying to deal with it. But Ice has made it up straight away down the hill. This is so close. 2 minutes to go. And this battle is going to go right to the death. Here we come up the hill once again. I think they've only got time for 3 more laps as they come up the hill. And it's still the Mixed Bag in front of Ice, but the gap between them is less than half a second. Through turn 1, into Henry's Bend, back up towards 3. Into the braking zone. Ice isn't close enough yet. The Mixed Bag is still just about hanging on in there. And this is going to be an incredible fight between these two drivers as they battle away for supremacy. Rich Martel looking this way, looking that way, trying to get back on terms. There's not much in it as they come through the S's. Back down the hill they will go. Rich Martel coming from a long way back. He's got good momentum down the hill. Can he sweep out the inside? He's having a look. He's not quite there yet. Great racing up the Garter Hill. They come again, and again the mixed bag has got him right underneath him as he tries to get on the inside line. And as they come up the hill one more time, the mixed bag still hanging on in there with a minute to go. That's 2 laps. 2 laps left. So can they hang on to this for the last 2 tours of this Buckmore Park circuit? Kart Fight 2018 really has provided us with an amazing showdown finish. And it's still not done yet. Can the ICE team overhaul the mixed bag? They're running out of time to do it. This is the penultimate lap of the race. We're running out of time. A lap and a half remains, and as they come onto the S's once again, it looks to me as though the mixed bag has actually got a good advantage, but they've got 2 slower karts in front of them and a spin in front of them. That's costly as ICE goes for the move, and he's through on the inside, runs wide on the curb, and back on the inside comes the mixed bag, takes the lead back again. Oh my word! They're going to be side by side nearly as they come off the turn, and this is going to be the final lap. Here they come, diving up the inside. ICE goes for the move, looks one way, looks the other. He's swarming all over the place. The leader is grinning like mad as ICE dives up the inside to take the lead. 2 corners, it's going to be settled as they come side by side. Into the 3rd turn, ICE takes the lead. Mixed bag gets back up the inside, takes the lead back again into 4. This is going to come down to the finish line. Whoever wins this on the 140th and final lap. And this is going to be an amazing finish. Down through the S's. A big tank slapper for the mixed bag. They protect the inside line. Perhaps a little too much. A bit of curb use there. Mixed bag's got 3 corners to go. Can they get there? ICE using too much curb. Coming up the hill though. It's going to be enough. The mixed bag team are going to do it through the final turn. And it's a victory for the mixed bag team. They hang on in glorious fashion. Oh my word. Kart Fight 2018 goes down to the wire. Only at Buckmore Park would you get a 2-hour enduro that goes down to the wire like that. Amazing. What a fight. They're still battling. I'm not sure they even saw the checkered flag. But what a race. What an amazing finish. And it's all done and dusted. See, they're still racing. They think it's done. They think it's not over. ICE dived for the move, but the race is over. They think they're still racing. Amazing. They're going to come through this time, but the mixed bag have done enough. They have got the victory. Absolutely fantastic. They complete another lap. It doesn't matter at the slightest. What a battle. And look at that. A nice handshake. Those last 15 minutes were so worth the hour and 45 it took to get to that point. Oh my goodness. That was an absolutely sensational battle. Right to the wire. That's what Buckmore Park gives you. A great finish. What an amazing 2 hours Kart Fight 2018 has been. The mixed bag takes the victory from ICE in 2nd position. Contour come home in 3rd. 24 seconds clear in the end of Chargemaster, with 5th position going to Piston Broke. Ben Rutt come home in 6th place from the ICE 2 squad, and they were in a very close battle towards the end there. Go Compare 1 fight their way back to 8th position. A good comeback drive from them, with Flycom and Curve battling away to the end, and 9th place going to the French squad in 9th position. Then Curve in 10th, and Go Compare 2 fight valiantly to the end in 11th position. But what a showdown. What a finish as the light fades here at Buckmore Park. It's been an absolutely incredible Kart Fight 2018. A massive thank you to everybody who's tuned in to watch us on the Alpha Live YouTube and Facebook pages, and also on Karting Magazine and Downforce UK. It's been an absolutely amazing showdown, hasn't it? Kart Fight 2018 really delivered, and those teams who missed it are going to be so sorry they missed an incredible show like that. I tell you what, Kart Fight 2019 had better deliver bigger and better than that, because they're going to have to work so hard to match the finish, as the victory lap around the circuit comes for the mixed bag. They are victorious as they wave the checkered flag around the circuit. It's been an amazing battle here for Kartfight 2018. I'm so glad I travelled 4 hours from my home in Chester to drive all the way here to watch an absolutely fantastic race. I wouldn't have missed this for all the tea, cocoa and coffee in the world. Absolutely amazing. A brilliant victory, and what incredible teamwork, what relentless defence, and what amazing heroism from all of the teams out there, particularly though for the winners, the mixed bag. I'm Jake Sanson. Stood up here on the gantry at Buckmore Park, and yet again, the heart of British karting has delivered in spades. We hope to see you again for the next time we do Kart Fight in 2019. Make sure you get your team on the grid for it. It's going to be an absolutely epic race, as you've just seen, and there's only more where that came from. Thanks to all the guys at Alpha Live and all of the team at Buckmore Park for making Kart Fight 2018 a sensational race, and hopefully, same time, same place next year, when England won't be playing a football match in Russia, we will do it all again, and the grid will be 3 times as big and 3 times as good.